Good evening, or I guess good day. Used to streaming later in the day. Hello. All right. So I've been out for the past week or so, uh, out traveling for a little bit, enjoying myself. Which did mean that we missed a few streams, but that's okay. I had something that I had wanted to do before I left, but I needed to wait until I had a couple of other things in first. Um, but you see the stream title, you know what this is. You've seen the posts if you pay attention to social media. Uh, this is something a little bit different than what I usually do, because I was very excited about the Final Fantasy Magic the Gathering sets. I have a passing interest in Final Fantasy. It's the type of thing where I didn't have a PlayStation easily accessible to me when I was growing up. So like I got to play Final Fantasy games, but it was usually at someone else's house. So for me, Final Fantasy is very much an aesthetic that I've borrowed a lot from whenever I would run games of Dungeons and Dragons and various other tabletops. I borrowed a lot of aesthetics from the game, and I know a lot about a lot of the characters, but not from the context of having played those games. It was more people that I knew who were very excited about it, who told me about it. Things like TV tropes, where I would have, like for example, I I suspect that I would love Final Fantasy VI, but I know a lot about it because I knew people in high school that were huge fans of Final Fantasy VI, and I read a lot about Kefka, right, and the like various themes of Final Fantasy VI. Final Fantasy VII I actually started playing recently in my free time as well. I started playing the remake, and I played bits and pieces of it because a friend of mine had it when I was younger, and I enjoyed that, but I didn't own a copy of it. My Final Fantasy was Legend of Dragoon, which was I haven't played it yet, but I've heard that Expedition 33, Clair Obscur, is kind of a spiritual successor to that combat system from Legend of Dragoon. And so that was my Final Fantasy game, was the definitely not Final Fantasy, but uh yeah, and I tried to play Final Fantasy 14 as well because I played, I've played WoW, I played Elder Scrolls Online, WildStar when that was the thing, and I liked Final Fantasy 14 conceptually, but when I was playing it, I didn't know anybody who played, uh, and MMOs tend to not really be that fun when you're playing by yourself. And maybe someday I'll try it again. I played through, I believe I played through all of Realm Reborn, but if I played again, I would restart because I've heard that they've done a lot of like overhauls to the main story quest. So maybe someday we'll do that. I'm familiar with many of these characters by name, but not all of them. And so if I don't know anything about a character, you will know because I will have absolutely no idea who this character is. Um there's also like some characters I know because of the meme, right? So I know such devastation. This was not my intent. And like I know about Y'shtola, I know about obviously like the cast of Final Fantasy VII. I know Cloud, I know Tifa, Aerith, like all of these characters I know. So we're gonna see how many characters I actually recognize. And one of the things that I'm actually curious about is by opening these, am I going to have a greater desire to play these games? Excuse me. Because I actually do have on PlayStation, actually, I have they had like a collection set or something that was on sale a while ago where you could get like Final Fantasy 1 through, I think it was Final Fantasy 1 through 6, where it was the original Final Fantasy ones. And those could be fun to play. I don't know if I could stream them because I don't have a capture card. I guess I could maybe stream them by using like the PlayStation remote, which probably wouldn't be too bad. But I don't know. If it seems of interest, I might do those at some point. The thing about Final Fantasy games is they tend to be kind of long, which I'm usually in favor of. But in some of the older games, you are kind of expected to grind sometimes, as they're, very old style JRPGs. And I find that to be difficult to stream because there's not really a lot to talk about when you're just spamming over and over again. Uh, so it's the kind of thing that, like, normally when I would be playing it, if I had to grind, I would have something else playing on the other screen. In this case, I am the second monitor content, so I don't think that you want your second monitor content to be what you would be not paying attention to normally anyway. So, but we'll see. That's neither here nor there. We are here for opening packs. Now, the thing is, I've never done anything like this before. I've never set up anything like this before. I've never I do own a webcam, and I almost never use it. In fact, this webcam is one of the original Razer Kiyos. I think Kiyo is how you say it. Kiyo. And the thing is, they're not great. They're not bad, but the original run of them, as far as I understand, had a hardware flaw. And I tried to update the drivers on this thing because they're stuck at driver 1.0.1 because I've never used it on this computer. This is back in, I think I bought this thing in 2018, maybe 2017. And I had a different computer back then. And this thing, I believe it has a max resolution, like a max 60 FPS resolution of like 720p, which is not great for a webcam these days. Like, you can get a 4K webcam for not like super cheap, but like for cheaper than you can buy a really good microphone, you can get a pretty good webcam these days. And the webcam's firmware can't be updated because there was a hardware flaw. And so there are a few things about it that I can't fix because there is no way to fix it. And I tried looking it up. I tried everything that I could to fix it. And it works for when we're looking at the cards close up. And it works for, like, if there's sufficient lighting. I'm hoping that the ambient light I have in here is enough for it to be able to work while I'm sitting in front of it. When I was testing it, it worked just fine. So as far as I'm aware, it should work just fine. But I borrowed, my girlfriend was kind enough to lend me. She has a ring light that a camera can be on. And so I'm using that right now as a backup. The only reason why I don't have it on right now is because, well, it does project a light on the cards as a ring because it's a ring light. So it's very obvious that it's on there. And so I have to angle the cards at kind of a weird angle when I was testing it. But we'll get to that. It's fine. If we have to do that, we will. But if not, then we'll work from there. Okay, so let me switch over to did want. Let's see if I can actually. I think that should be quiet enough. I also wanted to have some kind of background music on because, well, like, me talking might be okay, but there are going to be times where I'm just kind of looking at a card and I just, there might be some dead air. And normally I have background music for that for a video game, but we're not streaming a video game. So we are currently listening to, it's called Cleric's Promise by the lovely Jonathan Young and Emma Young. They have highly recommend, by the way. First of all, fantastic musician to begin with. Love all of his covers and all of his music. But Jonathan Young actually has a thing that he made with his wife, I believe, that is a thing called Dungeon Playlist. And it is a bunch of like really cool things to use for your background music for D&D. I heard about this on Banner at Home, actually, big fan. And I found out Brian Kibler uses it for his Hearthstone streams, I believe is what it was. And yeah, I was listening to a couple. He was like, "Oh yeah, this would make really good like background music for some things." And as it turns out, a good opportunity is to use it for Final Fantasy card openings, because what do you know? It has kind of a Final Fantasy vibe to it. This one in particular, I thought was very good. So we're going to be listening to this one for a little bit. Now, I will say, I do have some sleeves here in case we pull anything particularly good. I have regular sleeves and I have some actual like thicker sleeves as well. So let's do a quick assess of what we have. Now, I did try and pull the camera up so that I would be able to see as much of my table as possible. The problem was that it didn't really look very good. I can't really get it to like show all of the table. So we're just going to look at this section of the table. But I do have, just to show them off, we have the first of the boxes, which is the Counter Blitz. This is the Final Fantasy X commander deck, which has Titus and Yuna. So I believe that might have actually been the first Final Fantasy that I actually saw on PS2. It's not the first Final Fantasy I ever saw. The first one I ever saw was, I believe, I saw Final Fantasy VII. But this was the first one where I actually got to play the intro because a friend of mine got it, and Blitzball was fun. It was an enjoyable thing. But he played it on his own and got pretty far, and like I had like lost track of the story. So I would like to go back and play it at some point because I've heard it is very good. But I personally have not gotten to play it that much. We of course have the Limit Break deck, which is the Cloud and Tifa Final Fantasy VII deck. Which again, so far I'm playing the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it has been fantastic. Let's see if we can actually get the... Yeah, the foils might be a little hard to do. Just to show, by the way, how much harder this will be if I have to turn the light on. Let me put this on. So you can see the ring light down here, because the camera's actually inside of it. And it can be good, but if we angle it too high up, it's very hard to see. So I'm going to try and do it without the light. Now, one of the things that this camera does is it tries to color correct, which means that the color of the light that I use does not seem to matter. It'll just automatically adjust the colors, and I can't stop it from doing that because I can't update the firmware. So, hooray. That's what we have to deal with. Next up, we have Scions and Spellcraft, which is the Final Fantasy XIV deck with Y'shtola, and I don't remember who the secondary commander is. Looks like it is Rahatia? Did you say that? I don't think it's going to focus on this, unfortunately. No. Okay, so we'll be able to potentially look at that anyway. It's fine. And then we have, of course, Revival Trance, Terra. This is the Terra and Kefka deck, I believe, which is the Final Fantasy VI deck, obviously. Or no, I'm sorry. Celes is the backup commander. Kefka is just the one that I am very familiar with because I've seen a lot of people talk about him already. And I do think that he makes a fun commander deck. So I do kind of want to build around that. So in terms of what these decks do, so obviously the Counter Blitz deck is about putting counters on things. There's this really cool like interaction where as counters start going out, you have a bunch of triggers that can trigger more counters to go out, and then when you put counters on stuff, things happen. Just in general, it's kind of cool. The Limit Break deck is kind of an intro Voltron deck. It has a lot of interactions with equipment. There are a couple of really cool reprints in it. Pure Steel Paladin, for example, which I don't think I've actually built a Voltron deck. Well, okay, that's not true. I built a deck that would be Voltron, which is the Captain America deck, but my version of the deck is not built to attack. It is built to throw things at people that have high mana value. So there's no Colossus Hammer or anything like that in there. There are just really big equipment like Excalibur and Pariah Shield and things that have high mana values, so that when I throw it at people and I have all my damage multipliers out, I can one-shot people. Or if not one-shot people, do a bunch of damage. So it will be kind of cool to actually have access to a bunch of stuff to build a real Voltron deck. And in my test plays of it, I actually really like the base deck of the Cloud deck. I think there are a lot of cards in it that have good potential, but there's also some cards that are missing from it, and some cards that, you know, you kind of just want to swap out because they're not bad, but they don't really fit the deck's theme. In particular, I'm really hoping to get a Buster Sword, because putting a Buster Sword in the Cloud deck just seems obvious, especially if we can give it some good payoff, because he can just equip it to himself. The one that I was the most excited to actually build, though, is the Y'shtola deck, because despite how much I love them, I don't have a Spellslinger deck. And the Y'shtola one in particular is very interesting because it's a Spellslinger deck that cares about more expensive spells than normal. Because normally when you're playing a Spellslinger deck, you're doing something like Is It Spellslinger, where you want to throw in like Opt and things that cost like 1 or 2 mana, so you can draw a bunch of cards and keep, you know, casting things and get storm count up. But I really like the idea of the Y'shtola deck. And what I thought was particularly cool, because I didn't realize this at first, but her secondary ability, the ability to draw at end step when somebody takes 4 damage or more, that actually works even if people are attacking you. So at times it's actually incentivizing you to do the you know, the traditional black mana player, which is if I have life, that life is a resource. Well, if someone swings at me for 4 damage, 4 life that I might be able to get back later in exchange for a card now is a pretty good deal if I don't have to pay anything for it otherwise. There are obviously like better things that you can do, and you should still block where possible, but you know, it's kind of cool. I like the idea of it. But what I really liked was the interaction that it had with the Black Mage cards that make the new wizard tokens. And so I really like the idea of just building an Esper Spellslinger deck that makes a bunch of things that ping, and then just casting a bunch of spells. So I did have my own version of this that I upgraded a little bit, but we'll see if we get any of the cards that we need from the main set for this. Now, the last one that we talked about, the Revival Trance, this one is the Reanimator deck. Her whole shtick is that she puts things in the graveyard, and then you have a bunch of things that allow you to interact with the graveyard, whether it is directly resurrecting things or, you know, bringing things back to your hand. I have played a few decks like that. I have the Mothman, for example, which does kind of do that as well. But I do like the way that she does it, because the Terra deck is more aggressive in its planning, right? Like you want to be swinging with your commander to try and trigger the passive effect, which is allowing you to cast things from the graveyard. So those are the commander decks. Obviously, we have a box of the play boosters here. We also have 2 of the 3 secret layers. Now, I do have the 3rd one, but I already opened it, and I might talk about that later. But it was mostly to verify, because I'd heard, you know, rumors, because this was a you know, big secret layer, that there were some instances where people received the secret layers and didn't have stuff in them. And so, thankfully, I think that those were just rumor mongering. I did find out that there was some instances where people received a box that didn't have anything in it, but it seems like if you got the envelope actually did have the stuff in it, as long as it was sealed, obviously, which hopefully, you know, your envelope was sealed. So I will show off the cards from that later. There's only one that's missing, and it's missing because I actually somebody who did not get the secret layer, they were not able to get it because it was very highly wanted. They really wanted the VV lightning bolt, VV's lightning magic. And so I give it to them because to me, like, VV is very cool and I really want to build a deck around him, but I would rather somebody actually get to enjoy that card who actually has an attachment to Final Fantasy IX and VV. And so I was happy to share. Now we do have a collector's booster here, and we will open this, but we're going to open this last because obviously this is the big one. Now I did not buy an entire box of these because they are very expensive. I think the current price is like, I know Card Kingdom, you can, if you can get them pre-ordered, I think they're now up to $1,000 for a box of 12 of them, which is very, very absurd to me. They're very expensive, but they're also in high demand. There's not as much of them being printed at the rate that they had hoped for. I think in some cases it's up to 1,200 now, depending upon where you buy it from too. So I'm kind of excited to see what's in here because I know there's a few. And I also do know that in these commander boxes, there's usually a like a mini preview commander booster, or not commander, mini preview collector booster. And those do sometimes have cool stuff in them. I got the Mothman Pip-Boy edition card from my Mothman deck preview, which was really cool. Unfortunately, I did not get any of the other ones like that, but it was cool to get that one specifically. I think I did get the Caesar one, but it wasn't from the Caesar box. I think I got it from one of the other ones. And last but not least, we have the starter kit. Now, the starter kit, I've heard mixed things about it. Some people like some of the cards in it, some people don't. I don't know if we're specifically going to open the starter kit today, because, like, I believe it's just... I think, unless I'm mistaken, I don't think there's any, like, boosters or anything in here. So this is, like, we know everything that's in here, so we don't need to open this. But we will use some of these cards in the decks that I build later. But maybe we'll look at some of the art on them. I know that Sephiroth and Cloud here are very good. I believe the Sephiroth card, Planet's Heir, potentially could be very good in quite a few decks that run blue-black, just because he's like a Massacre Worm, kind of, but he gets bigger when things die. So we'll see. But we'll set that one off to the side because we're not going to worry about opening that one right now. So we're going to start with the play boosters, and then we're going to open the actual secret layers to look at these. And then we'll open the commander decks to get the collector previews out, and then we'll open the actual collector. So, shall we get started? I do have chat on the side as well. Hi, Snacks. One moment while I open this. Just to show this is actually sealed as well. Like, this is fully sealed, so no shenanigans here. At least I hope not. It would be very impressive if they had shenanigans. So there we go. Seal broken. Hooray. I do have a couple of things in here. As I want to save some of these actual packs because I have a friend who can make them into buttons, which would be cool. I always like seeing the like draft archetype because that's cool. I love the idea of the Black Mage aggro. I actually so I was building a variation of the Black Mage like Rakdos deck in Arena before I've opened any of my packs because I really like the idea of them. Now the thing is, I don't think they're good, right? I don't think they're gonna change anything in standard. Prowess is still kind of like mopping the floor with most people. And if it's not prowess, it's the like Azorius Omniscience, or it's like mono black discard. So in general, I don't think that there's too much concern that the black mages are going to suddenly take over, but I do think they're cute. I do like them. So we are hoping to get some of the black mages. So the play boosters, obviously, go ahead and open this a little bit. Make sure we have it in the camera. Actually, I'm going to stack these layers over here so they're out of the way. So now a box of these comes with, I believe it's 30 packs. We're going to try and very carefully open these. Gonna get these out of here. There we go. So we have a bunch of packs here. We only have one box right now. I might end up buying another one if I can get one in stock, if it's on sale, but we'll see. I have had much difficulty even finding anywhere that has any. Unsurprising that it's a very popular set. Damn, that's a lot of cards. Hey, it's Red Fang. Yeah, this is a play booster box which has a bunch of boosters in it. We have like all the commander decks, and then we have the secret layers and the one collector booster as well. Okay, so let's start. I'm gonna move these over here. Actually, I might have to move them off screen. Also, enjoy my Tesa mat that I have, which big fan. This was the I'm going to like brutally murder his name. I believe it's Magali Villeneuve. I kickstarted, I don't know if it was Kickstart or what it was, but I backed getting some of the like signed ones of these. So I have a Sarah's Angel under here, or I have not Sarah's Angel. I have Sarah, like actual Sarah. I have Tesa, and then I have a Soren that you can't see because it's on this corner over here. As I wanted to cover this table with something that was like not just the flat material that it is. So let's open some cards, shall we? Now I'm going to try and be as gentle opening these as I can, as I do want the actual the like top of the pack I don't really care about. It's more the picture on the front, which is Cloud. I would like to keep at least a handful of these. So let's see. We're going to flip it over. So we have, first and foremost, Uru Gardener, which is one of the weird plant beast things. It's okay. It's fine. It's you know, it's a Llanowar elf that costs 1 more and has 2 more toughness. Neat. Ooh, the camera is having a hard time. Hang on, let me turn this on. Work better. Okay, there we go. That is better. Okay, so Scorpion Sentinel. 7 more lands, +3+0. Okay, so it's okay. I do remember fighting this in Final Fantasy VII. So these were kind of annoying to fight, actually, just because I was very new to the game when I first started playing Remake, believe it or not. And I didn't lose, but it did kick my ass. So I usually, when I am getting these cards, I try and put them in WUBERG order as best I can, so I can have them like pre-sorted. We have Summon Chocomog. This is a summons from the game, from Final Fantasy VII. You're probably not going to be able to see it, but on the bottom here, if it'll... You can see which Final Fantasy it's from, as it tells you, Final Fantasy VII. So, Summon Choco, so this is one of the new mechanics. So there are now Saga creatures So in much the same way that Theros introduced the idea of enchantment creatures, we now have saga creatures, which are obviously still enchantments. But the idea is that they come into play and they do things for a few turns and then they go away. So this one, if I can get it to focus. Stampede, other creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. Which is pretty good. It's a 3 cost 3/3, and then as it enters, everything gets +1/+0. And then for the next couple of turns, it also does that. So kind of good, especially in a deck that uses like white weenies. If you're playing anything that has a bunch of like small tokens, it's pretty good. I know that the bird decks that people have been building that are like Selesnya or I guess Wooburg in some cases, have been kind of going for a bunch of tokens because there's a bunch of chocobo that you can make. So we'll go from there. Very, very pretty art. We get to focus on it. Chocobo and a Moogle. Item shopkeeper. Item shopkeeper, when you attack, target attacking equipped creature gains menace until end of turn. Okay, neat. I like the art. It's okay. Gotta go. Make sure they're still on screen. Marlboro. When this creature enters, each opponent discards a card. I love the art. That is very disturbing. And a swamp cycler as well. So this seems kind of like the Cazador troll, or was it Cazador? I know there's one that was from the Lord of the Rings set that a lot of people put in their deck because it's an expensive creature that does some stuff if you get him in play, but you also can use it for swamp cycling, which is very helpful. Instant ramen. There we go. One of the food artifacts. And this is different from regular food tokens because this is an artifact that is a food, not a token that is a food. Has flash, comes in, draw a card, and then gain some life. This is from Final Fantasy 15. I did try and play Final Fantasy 15. I got distracted, as one does. I don't know where my decks ended up. They all got shuffled around in the move, and now I can't find them. Oh, sorry to hear that, Snacks. I know the feeling. I lost an entire rare binder when I moved across states, which unfortunately had a lot of stuff in it that would have been nice to have, but unfortunately, it happens. All right, so we're gonna put the artifacts down here. Sahagin, which is one of the new merfolk. Now, I don't know which of these are reprints and which aren't. I know there's a way to tell, but we can get the interesting. When you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 4 mana was spent, put a +1/+1 counter. Can't be blocked. Kind of neat. Freya. Oh, Freya is a character that I do not know anything about her, but I love her vibe. Absolutely love her vibe. I like Jump. Jump is cool. The idea that she has flying on your turn, so you can choose to attack with her if you want. It's also kind of helpful to be able to have another thing that allows you to cast equipment. She is not quite as good as a Llanowar elf. I guess you could argue that she is kind of a Llanowar elf in an equipment deck. And she can attack. She has a little evasion because she can attack with flying. But the mana ability is not quite as useful, but in the right deck, could be very good. So maybe I will use her in the Cloud deck, actually. Battle menu. So this is fun. This is a reference to the actual bump to the camera. This is a reference to the turn-based style of the game. So whenever you cast it, you can choose either to attack, use an ability, use magic, or use an item. It's only an uncommon. I love this card. I like cards that have versatility, because you can put this in your deck, and even if you only want it to make a token, anytime you need it, it can do something else. So if you need to gain life, you can gain life. If you need to destroy something that's big, you can do that. Just love versatile cards. Thief's Knife. Interesting. So Thief's Knife is one of the new job select cards. They are equipment that spawns a hero token and then comes into play attached to that token. So it's very similar to like Germs and Rebels, which I'm all in favor of. I love the idea of building a deck that doesn't have any creatures and just makes tokens to equip things to. That is kind of cool. This one in particular has a combat loot effect where when you do combat damage, draw a card, which is neat. So it's the common rogue mechanic. Very cool. Gladiolus Amisatia. I think I'm saying that right. He is from Final Fantasy 15. You can get it at focus. He is one of the companions, I think, right? Yeah, that's right, because he's one of the ones that's going on the road trip. When he enters, search for a land card, put it on the battlefield, then shuffle, and when the land enters, another target creature gets +2/+2 and gains trample. Okay, that's fine. Like, it's kind of expensive, but it's a 6/6 that also has some landfall stuff, which can be neat. There's so many new mechanics and types that you don't know about. That's totally fine. One of the cool things about Magic is that I find no matter which set you join on, you can play the sets relatively self-contained. And I like when sets have both commander cards and regular cards, because then you can take a commander deck and upgrade it with cards from the set. And they feel like they're usually designed that way. All right, so we're going to do a multicolor pile right here. So the next card is, oh, there we go. Kuju, Genome Sorcerer. That is one of the Black Wizard cards. He is the Lord of Black Wizards, and he's actually one of the cards in the arena deck that I was theory crafting. So his thing is, he's a 4-mana 3/4 in Rakdos colors, so black and red. And at the beginning of your end step, you make one of the new 0/1 Black Wizard tokens. And when you cast a non-creature spell, the token deals 1 damage to each opponent. Then if you control 4 or more wizards, transform him. Kuju, Fate Denied. I don't know if it's Kuju or Kuha. Kuja? Flame Star. So he turns into a 4/6. If a wizard you control will deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage instead. So he himself doubles his own damage because he's still a wizard, although he's an avatar now instead of a human mutant. And on top of that, he also buffs all of the wizards that you made. So if you make a bunch of them, every time you cast a non-creature spell, they do 2 damage instead of 1. And there are non-creature spells that make black wizards. So you can make more of them and get more damage, which is kind of cool. So big fan of that, like him. We got a Foil Ether, which is a 4 mana, and then you can add blue mana. And when you next cast an instant or sorcery, copy it, which is cool. These restore MP in the game, which lets you cast spells, which is neat. Big fan. We got Vector, which is one of the new town cards. This is the Rakdos town. Enters tapped and taps for black or red. And we got a hero token. The lands here. So this looks like it is the Bard hero token. Looks very cool. And on the reverse side, we have a frog token who looks like he's about to get got. Maybe eaten. Looks like a fork. Put our tokens over here. Give me 1 sec while I grab my water. Okay, I'm going to try and adjust this ever so slightly. I would like to, if possible, that's too far. There we go. Because I want the focus to be on the cards. I did want to show the boxes at first, but now I actually do want to show the cards. So I also need to adjust my seat because I am I'm having to hold the cards up pretty high for the camera to see them. I could zoom the camera in, but I don't think that's a good idea because then I have to like hold it like right here and have that. So I'd rather just hold it up like this. So that was the first pack. First pack had Kuja, which is nice. I don't know how much he costs, but I do like him. So let's open the second pack here. We do have a bunch of packs to go through, so I'm not going to spend time going over ones that I've already seen. So we are going to go through them pretty quick eventually. Suplex. I love this card. Once again, it is one of those that allows you to do like choices, but specifically, this is a reference. The suplex running towards the train is a reference to a meme in Final Fantasy VI, because there's a character who their whole thing is that they can suplex enemies. They jump across the field, grab an enemy, jump in the air, and then slam them into the ground. There's a fight with a ghost train. You can suplex the train. The first time I ever saw this was during a Games Done Quick, and it was utterly fascinating to me that happened. So very, very cool. I love that they paid an homage to that in the art. Very cool. And then otherwise, this just does 3 damage for 2, which is not the best, but it does exile if it would kill it, which is nice. And then exiling an artifact. So either way, you're probably going to use this to exile something, which is nice in red. Namazu Trader. So when it enters, you lose a life and create a treasure token. It's the Catfish Merchant. And then when it attacks, you can sacrifice another creature or artifact. And if you do Survey, which lets you look at the top 2 cards and either keep them on top or put them in the graveyard. Kind of helpful. Eventually, these are going to get out of hand. Airship Crash. Destroy artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. And then it has cycling. Okay, neat. I like the art on that. Your layers a little bit. Retrieve the Esper, which was a Final Fantasy VI card. I know because they referenced the Espers. So we make a blue robot warrior 3/3 for 4, and then if it was cast from a graveyard, put 2+1/+1 counters. So 4 mana, make a 3/3, that's okay. And then flashback for 6, make a 5/5, also okay. Not the best. Shame it doesn't have instant. It being a sorcery does kind of limit it a little bit, but that's okay. It's still, it'll see play in somebody's deck. Fate of the Suncrest. This is a Final Fantasy 12 card. I do like the prism looking art on that. If it's targeting a tapped creature, costs 2 less, so instead of costing 5, it would cost 3. Destroy a non-land permanent. More removal is always nice. White Mage's Staff. 2 mana. This is another job select card. So it makes a... When this creature attacks, you gain 1 life and is a cleric. Okay. Neat. Seems good. Another instant ramen. Cactuar. Cactuar is a 1 mana 3/3, and then at the beginning of your end step, if this creature didn't enter the battlefield this turn, return it to its owner's hand. So this is a reference to the Cactuar enemies, which will appear, and then they'll usually be there for like a round or 2, and then they'll run away. It being a 1 mana 3/3 with trample is neat. However, I think it is kind of limiting because you can only ever have it out every other turn. Now, there is an interesting thing that you could do with this, which is you could potentially flicker it. And if you flickered it somehow, then that would allow you to keep it because it, it entered play this turn. So I could see a world where you build a deck around Flickering Cactuar. Well, a Flicker deck might want a Cactuar if they want the like 1 mana 3/3. Problem is that there are better cards for that. Usually you want something that has an enter the battlefield effect. So I don't, this is probably something that we'll see like limited play. I don't know if this will see a lot of like constructed play. Garnet, Princess of Alexandria. This is, ooh, interesting. So this is a card that 2 mana, so it's white and green. Lifelink 2/2, when it attacks, you may remove a lore counter from each of any number of sagas, put a +1/+1 counter for each lore counter removed. So this is a Selesnya Saga card, which is kind of interesting. I could see that building into an interesting deck. It's kind of weird that it only interacts with sagas, though. Like the fact that it has to take lore counters off of things. But what's interesting is this means that you can reuse a saga, because normally when a saga is about to run out, it just gets sacrificed. But you can actually pull any number off, which means that you get the abilities again for being able to trigger them for putting lore counters on. Relentless XATM092. This is a robot spider from Final Fantasy VIII. Can't be blocked except by 3 or more creatures, 6/5 for 6, and you can pay 8 to return it with a finality counter. If it would die, it gets exiled instead. So, very cool. Do I think commander or standard decks are harder to build? I think it depends on what you want. Personally, I find commander decks to be more interesting to build because you have to account for your pod that you're playing with. So for example, a deck that attacks a lot is not going to be as useful in a commander pod that has a lot of things where people prevent attacking. So if you have multiple people playing like stacks pieces, or when effects interrupt in some way, or not interrupt, when effects like prevent damage, that's not as useful. But if you're playing in a pod that doesn't have that, then it can be very good. In standard, usually you're just building around the standard meta, which right now the standard meta is kind of shaky. I believe it was 43% right now of the decks in standard are blue-red prowess decks, which are decks based around casting creatures that are very cheap or generating tokens that get +1/+1 when you cast non-creature spells, and then casting a bunch of really cheap non-creature spells, which can be, you know, kind of a pain. And then when it's not that, it's the cheating in omniscience, which makes all your spells free, or other things like that. So both of them are interesting in their own way. Both of them can be hard depending upon like what you're playing with. I think in Commander, it can be difficult to cut down what you need because there's a lot of cards that do similar things but have different trade-offs. Need something I have trouble with. No duplicates on Commander, if I remember right. So that is correct. You don't get duplicates in Commander, but the thing is, there are multiple cards that do the same effect or something similar. So for example, yes, you could use like Faithless Looting, for example, which is discard 2, draw 2. Or no, I think it's discard, make 2 treasures, draw 2, or something like that. I can't remember the exact card text off the top of my head right now. Been a while since I cast a Faithless Looting. But there's also another card that is literally the same thing for the same mana cost and the same effect. It just got printed as a different card. There are a bunch of variations of Counterspell that can counter like different things, or cost different mana, or have different effects when you counter. There's just a lot, right? There's a lot of ways that you can interact with the deck, and it presents an interesting challenge because you have to the main problem with Commander is not finding enough cards to meet the requirement for your deck. It's actually cutting your deck down to only be 100 cards, because very quickly, like, you want to have a lot of these specific cards. So Anyway, we will keep going. To answer your question in a short way, I think that it is more rewarding to build a commander deck that plays well in your pod, because I think when you're building standard, you are building for whatever the current meta is. You can build casual standard, and there are some really fun casual standard decks. I like the Black Mage deck, right? That's not a competitive standard deck. That's a casual standard deck. But I think it's really fun. And I think that it's a fun way of building. And it does limit your scope. So if you're having a hard time with building a deck, you can absolutely just build a standard deck of 60 cards. And then if you like how that deck plays, there are ways to build that in Commander. If you like prowess, you can build a Commander deck around prowess. If you like reanimating cards, you can do that in Commander. So there's a lot of versatility there. Side quest, catch a fish. This is one of the side quest cards. These are enchantments that do a thing, and then you have to like meet some requirement. And if you do, then you get to flip it. In this case, it is, I don't know if it'll, having a hard time focusing. There we go. So you get to look at the top card of your library at the beginning of your upkeep. If it's an artifact or creature, reveal it, put it in your hand. Otherwise, if you put it in your hand, create a food token and transform it. So basically, look at the top card. If it's artifact or creature, you can put it in your hand if you do flip the card. And when we flip the card, we get Cooking Campsite, which is a land that can tap for white, and also you can sack an artifact to put a counter on each creature you control. Not bad. I think that this could be really good in like a Selesnya deck built around counters. You could also probably put it in the Final Fantasy X deck, the Counter Blitz deck, as this could be potentially good. So I'm going to put that with the white cards. Hope. Oh man, this is one of the cards I wanted. Okay, excellent. Say hello to Hope Estime. Now, Hope is very interesting. Hope is an Azorius card, white-blue. 2/2 lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent mills X cards, where X is the amount of life you've gained this turn. Now, my first commander deck was a Dimir mill deck. I really liked that, and my pod at the time hated it because nobody likes having their cards milled. And I love this card, and I built a deck around this card. This is actually the first commander that I built a deck around from the set before I knew anything else about any of the cards. I wanted to build a deck around this guy because what I wanted to do is I wanted to build an Azorius lifelink deck. Like not lifelink, like life gain, I should say. That is like Azorius control life gain with the traditional life gain win conditions. Felidar Sovereign. I believe I have Approach of the Second Sun. And like there are a lot of really good ways of winning with life. And on top of that, if I gain life, he mills everyone at the table. So it's like group hug, but I'm strangling everybody with life gain. What I liked about him in particular is he is such a great bait and switch commander, because the alternative is there's Will Scion of Hope. I think it's Scion of Hope, which is really funny if it is. I don't actually remember if it is or not, but if it is, that's very funny in the Hope deck. But so Will is a card that you gain life, and then you can tap him to reduce the cost of white and blue spells. And so normally you would pay a bunch of like X spells that like draw cards or gain life. And so I put him in there. And so he's kind of the secret second commander of the deck. So if people spend all of their removal on Hope, they can't get rid of Will, which will be funny. But yeah, super excited to get a Hope. I'm actually going to sleeve this one right now because I do want to put him in a deck. So grab one of our penny sleeves because we have a couple of these. We'll just very gently flip him into the penny sleeve. So there we go. First good pull. I don't know how much he costs. I don't really care. It was just one of the ones that I really wanted to pull if I could. Next up, we have Ahriman. Flying Death Touch 3 mana, 2/2, sacrifice another creature or artifact, draw a card. Okay. Neat. It is a foil, which is cool. Unfortunately, the foils make it kind of hard for the camera to focus on it. And then we got a basic force. Now, the basic lands in this set are absolutely gorgeous. I really want the basic lands. I want as many of the basic lands as I can get. So I might actually have to buy one of the other boxes. They have the like I forget what they're called. Yeah, I don't remember what they're called, but the boxes that have like the land packs in them, because those usually will have some of the full arts in them too. And I love the Final Fantasy lands. And then we got an art card. Oh, we got Vivi. Oh, we got the Vivi art card. Oh, it's not the actual card, but if I have to use a proxy, I will absolutely use this one because it's adorable as hell. Now, I don't know a ton about Vivi, but what I do know about Vivi is that the card itself is very fun. So if we get him, then we'll talk about him more. But otherwise, he's just a cute black mage who casts big explosions and lightning. So we'll set this art card off to the side over here. And we'll put our basic land there. All right, let's keep going. We have a lot of packs to open, so I want to keep moving. We may have to do the arena opening another day because we're already going kind of slow. I know people have various ways they like to open packs. The way I like to open packs is I try and pull this back part and then tear down so I can actually pull everything out. So, and then we flip them over. So we get commons, or the commons rather. Bard Bow. Okay, so that's one of the other job select cards, Bard. So +2/+2, Bard, and Reach. Very expensive to equip. It is a 6 mana equip, which is kind of a lot. Looks cool though. Big fan of the aesthetic. I think it's skipping a bit. Oh yeah, if it's skipping a bit, sorry. I don't know if it's an internet thing or not. I don't see a delay on mine, but I know Twitch has been having problems for like the last month. So. Stuck in Summoner's Sanctum. So this is a tap. It's an enchantment to put on someone else's stuff. I love the art on that. It is very pretty. Can I get to focus on that? There we go. Oh, look at that. Gorgeous. So when it enters, tap enchanted permanent, and the enchanted permanent doesn't untap during its control's untap step, and its activated abilities can't be activated. So 3 mana, pretty good. Good card. You're not alone. This is a 1 mana. Target creature gets +2/+2. If you control 3 or more creatures, it gets +4/+4 instead. Neat. Good trick. Oop, one sec. Okay. Light of Judgment. Destroy... Let's see. Deal 6 damage to target creature. Destroy up to 1 equipment attached to that creature. Ooh. Okay, so this is the Kefka finale. So you do a bunch of damage to something, and then you can also blow up an equipment. Now this is good removal. Well, okay. Good removal. I like this because for newer players, this is a good thing to have based on the pod that you're playing with in Commander, because there are a lot of people who are not going to run Artifact Hate, or they're going to be playing in a deck that you might not have a lot of opportunities to have Artifact Hate. This lets you have Creature Hate that also hates equipment. Now, obviously, it destroying artifacts would be better, but blowing up an equipment on a creature means that you can kill a commander, and if you don't kill the commander, you can at least get rid of something on the commander too, which might in turn kill it. So do like that. Sephiroth's intervention. Very iconic scene. 4 mana to destroy a creature, gain 2 life. Fate is not to be taken lightly, Cloud. Magic pot. It's a pot. When it dies, make a treasure token, and then exile target card from graveyard. Neat. White Auracite. Okay, so this is yeah, some of these the camera is just not liking them. I think it's based on like the color. and there's not really much I can do about it. Can maybe do this. No, it's just having a hard time. So, so this is an example of removal that new players really need to see, because there are people who don't run removal or don't run very much removal, and this is a mana rock, so you tap it for 1 white mana, and also removal because it exiles a non-land permanent. Now, what this means is if you're someone who doesn't run mana rocks, but you're okay with running removal, you can run removal that is also a mana rock, and vice versa. If you don't usually run removal, you have a mana rock that is also removal, which is fine. Ooh, one of our first full arts. Vanadiel Adventures. This is the Laboratory Maniac reprint. 3 mana, 2/2. If you would draw a card while your library has no cards in it, you win the game instead. This is a fantastic card. There are a lot of decks that use Laboratory Maniac as a win condition. Thassa's Oracle is another, like the expensive version of that. But yeah, Laboratory Maniac, very cool card. Big fan. I don't know if that one's worth a lot. I don't remember how much Laboratory Maniacs are worth. I'll sleeve it just in case, because it is a very pretty, like, full art card. So I want to make sure that that one's not damaged at all. But that's the Final Fantasy XI artwork. There we go. Very pretty. All right. Overkill is our next card. Overkill is a 3 mana. Target creature gets -0, -9999 until end of turn. Now, I did see a combo using Overkill and one of the cards from Tarkir, I think it's Jaws of Defeat, where if you overkill a creature when it comes into play, then you can instantly kill an opponent because they would take damage equal to the difference between their health and the toughness or something. I don't remember exactly what it is, but the short answer is this is a really complicated way of killing something, and it's a very funny way of killing something because it gets past indestructible. So yeah, I've already seen a combo with this, and otherwise it's just a funny removal. I like it. Another Freya. We do like Freya. Keep that. Another battle menu. Tifa. Ooh, I also wanted a Tifa. So there is a deck with Tifa that is very mean because you can one-shot very quickly. The way Tifa works is she is a 2 mana 1/2 with trample, and when a land enters the battlefield, double her power until end of turn. Now, with any kind of fetch land, so Fabled Passage, the Evolving Wilds, any of those, what this card actually says is cast 1 buff on me and then play that land, crack the land, and one-shot somebody. Because if you give it, I don't know, Overrun, which actually we don't even need to do Overrun. If we pay 1 mana and give it +3/+3 or any like amount of power that gets it to 4, play a fetch land, which gets it to 8, crack the fetch land, which gets it to 16, and you can punch somebody for 16 on like turn 3, which is very funny. So yeah, big fan of Tifa. Cactuar, we got a foil one. We got the Selesnya Town. Taps for white-green. And we got the Chocobo token. Oh, look at him. Bird. And it's also a wizard token. We're going to put it on the wizard because we're excited about the black wizards. So. All right. Let's keep going. We are starting to hit some duplicates, which is nice because it means we don't have to spend as much time looking at them. But like I said, we have a lot of cards to get through. Red Mage's Rapier. So this is one of the wizard artifacts. This creates a hero. Come on. There we go. And when you cast a non-creature spell, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. So it's kind of the oh, what's that card called? It's the bird wizard that gets +2/+0. So it's basically that. Very cool. Black Mage's Rod. Hey, there we go. We got one of the rods that makes black mages. So this creates a hero that makes them a black mage. So they're not actually the black mage wizard down here, but they are a hero that gets the ability that the black mage wizards have. Grisha's Wanderings. Search your library for a basic land card or a town. Put it onto the battlefield tapped and shuffle. When you search your library this way, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Okay, so that's pretty cool. That's a you know, it's a slightly more expensive rampant growth, but it also lets you grab towns, which means that you can grab the dual color towns. And it also gets a counter. So in decks like the Titus deck over there, that could actually be very useful. Oh, I'm going to murder this. Keykiern Merchant has loot, draw a card, discard it. So pay 1, tap, draw a card, discard a card. Pay 7, sack this creature, draw 3 cards. Costs 1 less to activate for each town you control. Interesting. So if you have a bunch of towns in play, then this is just potentially a pay a little mana and tap and just draw 3 cards. Unfortunately, I don't know how many towns you're actually going to run. I think there's like maybe... So there's 1 for each color pairing, for like the 2 color pairings. And there's also 1 that is an adventure for each color, and there's, I think, 2 that are colorless. So realistically, in a deck that's 2 colors, you're probably only going to have like 5, maybe 6 towns. So this might be good in some decks, but I struggle to find a case where you're going to want to cast this and use the like 7 drop or 7 cost and sack. That's the other part. You have to sack the creature as well. Slash of Light. Deal damage equal to the number of equipment that we, or the number of creatures we control plus the number of equipment we control to a creature. That's kind of cool. It's the Final Fantasy 1, so that's the original Warrior of Light. Get another white aura sight. Lunatic Pandora. So this is a pay 1 to play it. Legendary artifact. We can survey 1 for 2 mana, and then we can sacrifice it to destroy an online permanent. I like this card. I don't know how many decks I'm going to use this in, but this is a card that I could definitely see in a couple of decks that I run, because just being able to put things like surveying is very helpful, because you can run it in decks that would like Scry, because if you don't need the top card, like putting it on the bottom is basically the same as putting it in the graveyard anyway. And for decks that care about things in the graveyard, this is just Scry but better. So I like this, and it also can turn into removal later, which is helpful. Samurai's Katana. This is the Samurai job, and it is just +2/+2 trample and haste for 3 mana, and then it costs 5 to equip. Very cool. Good artwork. Restoration Magic. This is one of the tiered cards. So the way the tiered cards works is you have a base mana cost, which is 1 white, and then you have a bunch of effects. Let's see if I can get it to actually focus on those effects. So we have Cure for 0, which gives a permanent hexproof and indestructible, which is great. We have Cura for 1, which does the same thing, but also gives us 3 life. And then you have Curaga, which is 4 additional mana, so that's total 5 mana. Permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn, and you gain 6 life. So this is great. I have already put this in a couple of Theorycraft decks. I think that this is a very, very good card for an uncommon, because protection in Commander is very helpful. Oh, hang on 1 sec. We had a bot. Had a bot I had to ban real quick. All right. So, Restoration Magic. Very good. Very good example of one of the tiered magic spells. Also, the art is just cute. Titus, Blitzball Star, sweet. So this is the other Titus, because there are, I believe there's 2 for each of the cards, for each of the commanders. There is another version of them, at least one other one. So this one is when you get an artifact into play, +1/+1 counter on Titus. When Titus attacks, tap a creature an opponent controls. So this is cool. I know Blitzball is a mechanic in this game because they have like the Blitzball equipment card that can do some stuff. So this is kind of a neat card. 2/1 for 3 mana. It's okay, but in the right deck, this could be pretty good, especially a deck that is tapping things down anyway. Ultimecia, Time Sorceress. Okay, I don't remember this one, but it looks cool. Let me focus on that art. Look at that. Very pretty. So when it enters or attacks, survey 2. At the beginning of your end step, you may pay 8 mana for blue, blue, black, black, and exile 8 cards from your graveyard if you do transform. So she's a 5 mana 4/5 that can transform and also surveys. And then she transforms into Ultimecia Omnipotent. Has a 7/7 with Menace and Time Compression. Also, look at that art. Final Fantasy is definitely like one of the coolest aesthetics. When this creature transforms into Ultimecia Omnipotent, take an extra turn after this one. Okay, that's pretty cool. This could work very well if you have a way of flickering or bouncing her, as you could get her to come back into play. And if you have 8 or more cards in your graveyard, you could do it again. So that would be cool. Might build around her. We'll see. Go-Go, Master of Mimicry. So this is actually one that I wanted for my version of the Hope deck, because Go-Go is a 3 mana 2/4, who is kind of neat. Get to focus on him. And XX, copy target activator triggered ability you control X times. You may choose new targets. This ability can't be copied, and X can't be 0. So this is really good. This card I expect is going to get used in many, many decks who can fit him. Because, so in the Hope deck, for example, I am able to multiply the Hope Mill ability. I believe because it works from activated abilities. I believe a Planeswalker is an activated ability. So if you have the Jace that lets you mill X cards, you can do that. If you use a gain additional turns effect from a creature, you can copy that using this card. So this has great potential. I am very excited to pull to Go-Go. We're going to save some of the like good sleeves for when we get cards that I know are worth something. Which the thing is, I didn't look up the prices of a lot of these cards, so I don't actually know what most of them are worth. I just know that there are some that are worth something. Kind of reminds me of Chandra. You mean Go-Go? So Go-Go is, I think it's a he, but he's dressed up in like a dress. Or robes. It's kind of hard to tell. He's like, his face is obscured. I could definitely see the Chandra thing though, because you can't quite tell that that's like a turban. Paladin Arms. This is job select. This is the knight job. +2/+1, ward 1, and is a knight. Equip 4. It's foil, so it's gonna be kind of hard to show off, but we'll try. Very pretty. Absolutely love that. Glorious card. And we got an island. Love that full art island. So pretty. We got another one of the Bard heroes. But this one's the Robot Warrior. Okay. Let's open another pack. Gigantode is our first card. Big Frog. 4 mana 4/4. If you control 7 or more lands, it becomes a 6/6. Pretty good. Seems neat. Very straightforward. Big Gangy Frog. Rook Turret. So this is from Final Fantasy 14. Looks like it is a construct. 4 mana. When another artifact you control enters, draw a card. If you do, discard a card. So loot. Pretty good. I think that's called looting. I'm still trying, like, I got back into Magic, like, semi-recently, like 2 years ago, so I'm still learning or relearning some of the terminology for some of the effects. But draw a card, discard a card with artifact entering is pretty good, so not bad. Aerith Rescue Mission. This is a fantastic example of another one of these choice cards. You can get 3 1/1 colorless hero creature tokens. Oh, show off the art. So you can see we have Cloud, Barrett, and Tifa. So you can either make 3 1/1 hero creatures, or you can, by taking the elevator, or you can take 59 flights of stairs and tap up to 3 creatures and put stun counters on them, which is hilarious. Love that. Blazing Bomb. So this is an elemental 1 mana 1/1. When you cast a non-creature spell, if it was at least 4 mana, put a +1/+1 counter. And then you can tap this, sack it, and deal damage equal to its power to target creature. Ooh, that was almost good. That's not terrible, but like, if it had been to any target instead of just a creature, that would have been very good. So close. Let's see. Fight On. Return up to 2 creature cards from your graveyard to your hand for 3 mana. This is... looks like Aerith casting some kind of heal spell on what looks to be... is that Yuffie? I think that's Yuffie. Neat. Lunatic Pandora. Cool. Having multiple of these will be nice, as I do plan to use them. Barnabas Farm. So this is the Crom. 5 mana zombie horror, flying haste. When an opponent casts their second spell, draw a card, and then it has partner. So look at that artwork. Holy crap, that is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. That is from Final Fantasy 16, which I have not played, but I do want to play. Wow, very pretty. That one is definitely going in a sleeve. One sec. All right, Barnabas. Next up, we have Shambling Seath, which is a horror, mutant horror, for 3 mana. Enters tapped 3/3. When you cast a non-creature spell, you may pay black. If you do, return this from the graveyard to your hand. It's okay. Any kind of graveyard recursion can be good in some decks, so I'm sure this will be put in somebody's deck, but I don't have any immediately that this would be useful for. It's neat, though. It is neat. Chocobo Racetrack is our next card. 3 green, landfall. When a land enters, create a 2/2 bird, so we can make chocobos that have, when a land enters, it's +1/+0. So this is another one of those landfall things. When a land enters, it does stuff. In particular, it makes creatures that also have landfall triggers on them, which is great. This will definitely get used in some decks. Probably bird decks. If there's a bird deck that cares about landfall, like playing a land and getting creatures is generally pretty good. Now, it is kind of a shame it doesn't do anything else, because for 5 mana, that's kind of steep. Because by the time you can cast this, you already have 5 mana available to you, which in a deck that has green will probably be on turn 3. But that's still pretty expensive for what is basically like going to only get use in the like mid game. Could be good though. Could be good. Right. Quistis Trepe. Trepe? Blue magic. So 3 mana 2/2. When she enters, you may cast her instant sorcery spell from a graveyard, and mana of any type can be spent to cast that spell. If that spell would be put into a graveyard, exile it instead. Notably, it is not from your graveyard, it is from a graveyard, which means that this could be very good in Commander, because you could potentially take some pretty good spells late game. especially because since you're playing in blue, you can counter that spell, and then you can later cast Twistis and then take that spell. Omega, Heartless Evolution. Very pretty version of him, too. A 7 mana 8/8. When Omega enters for each opponent, tap up to one non-land permanent that opponent controls. Put X stun counters on each of those permanents, and you gain X life, where X is the number of non-basic lands you control. Interesting. Okay, so I kind of want to build this into a commander, because this seems like it could be a very interesting commander, especially if you're playing like Simic Flickering of any kind, so if you can like bounce it. Oh, enjoy dinner. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, so I am going to put this one in a sleeve because it is full art. Oh, the Wind Crystal. Okay, well, we're going to put that one in the sleeve, but we're going to talk about this one first because I'm excited about this one. So this is actually one I put in my Hope deck. Well, that was 3 crafting. This is one of the cost reducers that also does other stuff. So 4 mana reduces white spells by 1. And if you would gain life, you gain twice that, and then you can pay 6 mana to give all your creatures flying and lifelink. So this card, the crystals are huge. This one in particular, big fan, because it works really well with the Hope deck that I built. So very excited to have this one. That's also going to go in a sleeve. So let me handle those first. And also take a sip of my water because I am thirsty. At this rate, I might have to actually start using my... You know what? I am going to go ahead and crack open those sleeves because I'm penny sleeving more of these cards than I expected to be. And I have several packs of these just plain black sleeves, which I don't remember what brand they are. Normally I use either Dragon Shield or Game Genic, unless I have like some specific Ultra Pros, like for my Mothman deck. I have the Nuka Girl Ultra Pro sleeves, but these were just something that a friend of mine gave me. Yeah, wow, look at the Wind Crystal. Very pretty. So I do like the Wind Crystal. It is one that I was hoping to find at least one copy. Now we just need the Water Crystal. If we can get both of them, it'd be great. Because then that'll be all the cards I needed from that. So keep going. Zidane is our next card. Zidane is our foil. Tantalus Thief. 5 mana 3/3. When it enters, gain control of target creature an opponent controls until end of turn. Untap it, it gains lifelink and haste. When an opponent gains control of a permanent from you, you create a treasure token. Okay, so this is very good. This could be a very interesting commander because the idea of Zidane coming into play, stealing someone else's creature, and then swinging it, and so you're almost guaranteed to gain life off of it. And if nobody removes it, you also get treasure. So, like, one way or another, you get some benefit from Zidane stealing something. So, very cool. We got a foil mountain. I do like that. And we got the special version of, I believe this is Graha? Yes, this is Graha. See if we can get it to focus in on him. All right, it's kind of hard to hold him straight. There we go. Very cool. All right, next pack. This is pack 7, I think. That's 7. Nope, this is pack 6. Oh, we got a lot of packs to go. We are starting to hit duplicates, I should say. Oops, bump the camera. So because we're starting to hit duplicates, it's a little easier to get through them. Mysidian Elder. Okay, so this makes a 0/1 black wizard. Neat. 3 mana 1/3 that makes a wizard. Cool. Shinra Reinforcements. This is a 3 mana. When it enters, mill 3, gain 3. Okay. In the right deck, this is going to be great. Summon Fat Chocobo. Another one of the sagas. 5 mana. So Wark, make a Chocobo, 2/2 green bird that has landfall, gain +1/+0 until end of turn. And then Kerplunk, creatures you control gain trample until end of turn. So Summon Fat Chocobo will be a fantastic way of trouncing somebody with your pile of birds. Sagas Newliths. Okay, so this is or sages. I'm sorry, not sagas, sages. So once again, very pretty. It's +1/+0, and when it attacks, untap target attacking creature. Okay, so it's could be pseudo vigilance for yourself, or it could untap another creature that you want to be able to block with. Weapons vendor. Okay. At the beginning of combat on your turn. Okay, so when it enters, draw a card. Neat. And then if you have an equipment, you can pay 1 to attach that equipment to another creature you control. This is pretty good. This is another way to cheat the equip cost. Very nice. Adventure's Airship. When this vehicle attacks, draw a card, then discard a card. Neat. Looks cool. Laughing Mad. Hey, remember how I was talking about discarding a card to draw 2 cards? Here you go. Here's one that does that and also flashback. Pretty good. Also, that's Kefka. I know that. Another Thief's Knife. Got another Gladiolus. Got another Shambling Seath. Or Seath. Sid. So Sid is one of the continuous pieces of Final Fantasy. He is in, I believe, every Final Fantasy game, or at least almost all of them. And fittingly, or I was going to say suitably, but fittingly, I believe there are 15 different versions of the Sid card. And you can have any number of them in your deck named Sid Timeless Artificer. It's a 4-mana 4/4 artifact creatures and heroes you control get +1/+1, and each artificer you control, for each artificer you control and each artificer card in your graveyard. So kind of an interesting one. He's a lord, but not for himself. He's a lord for artifacts, but he's a lord that works even if he's in the graveyard, which is interesting. Zanarkand, Ancient Metropolis. This is one of the adventure lands. This is the green one. You can pay 6, create a 1/1 hero token, and put a +1/+1 counter on it for each land you control. And then because it's an adventure, if you cast it, it goes into exile, and then you can bring it back into play tapped, which is cool. I like this one. I think this one's actually very good. This one will probably go in the Titus deck, actually, as it's pretty good for that. And worst case, it's a land that comes into play tapped. Versatile card. It's like MDFCs, but, you know, obviously it's an adventure. Retrieve the Esper. We already got one of those. Gone, Tower of Ruin. This is the Golgari town. So black-green. Very pretty. And then this is the... I don't know which hero this is. This looks like it might be the Sage. And also a treasure token. That's a very pretty treasure. Very pretty treasure token. Wow, couldn't say that. Next up, I am determined to get through as many of these as I can, even though we've been here for an hour and a half already. Dice all greens. So this makes a bird. Makes a chocobo. Actually, I'm going to see if I can lower this down just a little bit so I don't have to hold my arms up quite as high. See if I can get it to like right here, maybe. All right. Yo. How's this? Is this... Let's see if this looks any better. Oh, there we go. Okay, so not bad. So this makes a chocobo and also has flashback. Very hungry chocobo. Magic Damper. So target creature you control gets +1/+1 and gains hexproof until end of turn. Untap it. Okay, so not quite Snakeskin Veil, but a 1-mana hexproof in blue that also makes it able to block is pretty good. There's also always a use for a thing that says untap a creature. So, and I love the art on that. It's so pretty. That's Final Fantasy 13. I know I'm not saying the Final Fantasies that often. I'm just trying to get through these. Cloudbound Moogle. A 5-mana 2/3 with flying. When it enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Plane cycling. Okay, so this is the plane cycling version of the thing we saw earlier. It's okay. It'll get used in a deck somewhere. Summon GF Ifrit. 3/2. So 3 mana for 3/2. You may discard a card if you do draw a card. So loot twice and then add mana twice. So I like this. It's very basic, but also like I think it'll be very useful. Card selection is always nice, and then getting to get a little mana out of it before it dies is also nice. It does mean that over the course of 4 turns, you do get the effects of one of the like Faithless Looting type thing. Well, not exactly Faithless Looting, but the same type of thing. Discard 2 cards, draw 2 cards, and then also you get 2 mana back, so you're paying 3 mana and getting 2 back. It is over 2 turns, so obviously like you are front loading that cost, but you also get a 3/2 out of it. And if somebody kills it, like, you know, they used a kill spell on this thing, which there are some decks I might use it on to get rid of this, but I'm more likely to use enchantment hate on this, and there's much worse enchantments, so I'm probably not going to be killing this all that often. Another Ahriman. This one is not foil. Crossroads Village. This is the Wooburg Crossroad town. Enters tapped, choose a color, 1 mana of the chosen color. So obviously, like the fact that it lets you pick your color is very helpful in Commander. This is a very good card because while it is a tap land, if you have it in your opening hand, you can just very easily play it on your first turn if you don't have a turn 1 play. And later in the game, you might be able to use it to get a little bit of extra mana of a particular type. It is, you know, it's fine. It's a common. It's a good land for like some decks. There's no Laughing Mad. Shadowbringers. That is the Dovin's Veto. So that is white-blue. Counter a spell, can't be countered. This is the Final Fantasy 14 card, named after the Shadowbringers expansion. Very cool. That one goes in a sleeve. Now, Dovin's Veto, I use them pretty often if I'm building a deck that can fit them, just because it's a non-creature counterspell that can't be countered, so there are times where that is very helpful. Notably, it gets around things that say counter a spell unless someone pays more mana. So like, if, for example, you have some effect that's like, oh, if you don't pay 2 extra mana, then your spell can't counter my spell or something like that. Well, this gets around it because this can't be countered, so, which is neat. Next up, we have Phantom Train. So we have the train that gets suplexed from Final Fantasy VI. 4 mana, 4/4 trample, sacrifice another artifact or creature, put a +1/+1 counter on this vehicle. It becomes a spirit artifact creature in addition to its other types until end of turn. So this does not have a crew effect. To crew it, you have to sacrifice something, which is interesting because it gets stronger as you sacrifice things. Now, I like the interaction with sacrificing an artifact or a creature, because that means obviously you can sacrifice like treasures or food or whatever, but you can also sacrifice like spirit tokens are cool. I like the aesthetic of having a Phantom Train powered by spirits. Yeah, very cool. Ring of the Luci, or Lucy. 4 mana, It's, you know, it's a bad Soul Ring. Like, I say bad Soul Ring. It's a balanced Soul Ring. It's a 4 mana, add 2 mana, and then you can pay 2 and pay a life and tap a non-land permanent. This probably won't get used all that often. I am surprised it's a legendary artifact as well, because that seems very limited in use. Although I guess it's basically like, well, no, I was gonna say it's kind of like the Hedrons, but unfortunately it's a bad version of the Hedrons because you can't even use it to draw cards. It's interesting. The art's cool. I like the art, but this probably won't go in any of my decks. Next up we have Shantoto, Tactician Magician. That is a great name. 3 mana, and then 0/4, when you cast a non-creature spell, it gets +X+O until end of turn. X is the amount of mana spent to cast that spell, and if X is 4 or more, draw a card. This is cool. I saw a commander deck around this, where basically they had a bunch of spell slinging in blue and red, but more expensive cards, with the intention of reducing the cost of instants and sorceries. And it basically just made all of their 4+ mana cards also draw a card. So all of your like expensive draw cards do more draw and also make your commander big. So it's kind of interesting. I don't know if I'm going to build it. I'm more interested in the VV deck, but I do like the idea. Ultima. Ooh, okay. Ultima is a good one. We're actually going to... I don't know if this one's worth a lot, but I am going to put it in a sleeve because I do like the card quite a lot. Now, let me get it sleeved and then we'll look at it again. So Ultima is a 5 mana. See if we can get it to zoom in. 5 mana 4/4. Colorless, notably, flying. 1 it attacks, put a blight counter on target land. For as long as that land has a blight counter on it, it loses all land types and abilities and has tap, add colorless mana to your mana pool. When you tap a land for colorless, add an additional colorless mana. This card is very interesting because it can go in basically any deck, and it acts as a way of neutering somebody's land count, as you can remove their colors, which is nice. And if you happen to care about colorless mana, it works even better. So if you're building a colorless Eldrazi deck, for example, this is very good. It makes all of your colorless lands, all your wastes, tap for 1 extra. Very cool. I kind of like the idea of building a commander deck around this guy, actually, so I might build a deck around him. We will see. We have Unexpected Request. So this is 3 mana until end of turn, gain control of target creature. Untap it, it gains haste. You may attach an equipment you control to that creature. If you do, unattach it at the beginning of the next end step. This is hilarious. I love the idea of taking someone else's commander, equipping it with the Buster Sword, and then hitting someone with them. That is very funny. I love this card. Rabanastra, so that is the Boros town. Very cool. And we got the gold signed version of, I think this is the, is this the Dancer equipment? Dancer's Chakrams. Yep, sure is. Oh, that is very pretty. I love that. All right, we're gonna put that one right on top. All right. We're making progress. All right, we will go for another hour. Okay, so first card out of the new box or new pack is Haste Magic. Okay, Haste Magic is cool. So Haste Magic is 2 mana, instant. If we can get to zoom in. That's Cloud there from Final Fantasy VII. +3/+1 and gains haste. Exile the top card of your library. You may play it until your next end step. Now, this is a little bit weaker than some of the other effects because usually you want ones that say you may play it until the end of your next turn. So this one you would only be able to play it until the end of this turn. But this is still good. I also like the idea of using it as a blocker. because you can, like, obviously, if you use it on somebody else's turn, it's until your next end step, so you can still hold on to that card until your turn. So this, I will almost assuredly put these in a few decks. I do like haste magic as an idea, so I very much want to use that for a few things. Hectize, ew, kind of gross. It is a 2-mana 1/1. When this creature enters, each opponent discards a card. Okay, that is, for a discard deck, that is pretty good. Pay 2 for a blocker that also makes everyone discard something. All right, that'll get used somewhere. Somebody will use it. Town Greeter, 2-mana 1/1. When it enters, mill 4. Put a land from among them into your hand. If you put a town into your hand, gain 2 life. Okay, so there's a few cards that do something kind of like this. I like this card. If you're running towns, then it's a, you get a bonus for picking a town. And it also means if you pick the adventure town as well, then you get a spell out of it too, which can also be helpful. So Town Greeter, I will probably find a home for, maybe in a landfall deck. I don't know if I would put it in, no, I probably wouldn't put it in Mothman, just because there's other ways of interacting with lands, but I could see a world where, like, maybe you'd put in, like, Muldrotha. We'll see. Ice Magic, our next tiered spell. 2 mana, so we have Blizzard, which is 0. Return target creature to its owner's hand. Okay, so for 2 mana, you can bounce a creature. For 4 mana, you can Blizzara. Target creature's owner puts it on the top or bottom of their library. They get to choose. And then for that 8 mana, target creature's owner shuffles it into their library. Blizzaga. Okay, so I say that I did not play that many Final Fantasies. I played a lot of Crystal Chronicles. That is the one Final Fantasy that I did own because I owned a GameCube. So one of the things I liked in it was that in multiplayer, you could cast stronger versions of spells by layering the spells on top of each other. And I remember Blizzard, Blizzara, and Blizzaga. Now, I know this is Final Fantasy X, so I know that this is a reference to the Final Fantasy X iteration of it. But I do love the idea of a pseudo removal. It is removal, but it's usually you'd bounce it to their hand or like put it on top of their library. I love the idea that there's a stronger version of this that just shuffles it into their deck. That is cool. I like that. So it's not the strongest card, but it's neat. I like it. Dwarven Castle Guard, some more dwarves. 2 mana, 2/1. When this creature dies, create a colorless hero token that's a 1/1. Lolly Ho is the Dwarven Greeting. Neat. Another Crossroads Village. Ash, Princess of Dalmasca. 3 mana, 3/2. When it attacks, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal an artifact card from among them and put it in your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in random order. Okay, so not quite a tutor, but could be good in some decks. This is an example. So I've heard a lot of people talk about this where there are a lot of cards in this set that are not, they're legendary, but they're not really good commanders. It is a great card in the 99 of some commander decks, but I don't think I would build a deck around this card, probably. Maybe, but the thing is, like, there's so many other commanders in mono white that would work better with most decks. The fact that she's mono white and doesn't have partner does her a disservice, because that means that you're extremely limited on where you would use her as a commander. But as a regular card, I think it's interesting. Sandworm, 5 mana haste, 5/4. When it enters, destroy target land, and then they may search for a basic land and put it on the battlefield tapped. Neat. Notably, it's destroy target land, not target land an opponent controls. So you could, if you really wanted to, you could put this in a landfall deck that has red, and you could blow up your own lands to get landfall triggers, which is neat. I wouldn't do that, but you could. Demon Wall. All right, this is a 2 mana 3/3. The camera will look at it. Defender Menace, as long as the creature has a counter on it, it can attack as though it didn't have a defender, and you can pay 6 mana to put 2 counters on it. That's kind of interesting. I like the idea of an artifact that cares about counters on it. Let me see if I can move my one a little bit over. There we go. Sorry, I wanted to adjust where it was just a little bit. Okay. So this is kind of neat. I don't know what deck I would put this in, but I'm sure it has a place somewhere. Another side quest, Raise a Chocobo. So this is a card that is going to be good in bird decks and probably used nowhere else, but it is a, let's see if we can get it to zoom in. 2 mana, make a bird that has landfall get bigger, and if you have 4 more birds, transform, and when you transform it, it turns into the Black Chocobo, which is search for a basic land, put it on the battlefield, and when a land enters, birds you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. So, kind of good. In a bird deck, this will be good. In non-bird decks, this won't be bad. So, there's a very specific archetype of deck this will be used in. All right, we got the red adventure, which is the one that makes black wizards, which we're cool with. We love the black mage. So, Lindblum Industrial Regency. So this is the Final Fantasy IX land. Enters tapped, get red, pay 3, make a wizard. Neat. I will use this in a deck for sure. The standard deck that I built with black wizards, I would totally use this. Oh, goes in the land pile. Dion, Bahamut's Dominant. 4 mana, 3/3. That art, very cool. Dragonfire Dive. During your turn, Dion, maybe it's Dion. Dion and other knights you control have flying. Okay, interesting. So it gives knights evasion. When it enters, make a 2/2 white knight. So that is... so that's 5 power on the board, and it has flying whenever you go to attack. And pay 6, exile him, then return to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control, only as a sorcery. And it turns him into Bahamut. So he is a saga. Put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control. Those creatures gain flying until end of turn. So same effect, but now they also get a counter. And at the final stage, destroy target permanent, exile, then return to the battlefield. Okay, this is just a cool card. I like the idea of brewing a knight commander around this guy. I think that he could be very cool. I would like to see if there are any decks around him already, but I like this. I like that he comes with removal. I like that he plays into having knights. I like that he buffs the knights both with flying and also with counters. And he also can just repeatedly flip himself. So just in general, kind of a cool card. I like him. Cargo ship. Loyal cargo ship. So this is an artifact mana rock that is also a 2/3 with flying and vigilance. So it's a 2 mana, can tap for mana that you can only use for artifact spells or abilities for artifacts. So, and crew 1, which is neat. Swamp. Very pretty swamp. Look at that swamp. Love that swamp. And then this is the barbarian. I don't remember all the jobs in Final Fantasy, so I can't tell you. It looks like a barbarian to me. Maybe a warrior. And a chocobo. Up. I'm gonna straighten these cards a little bit, as these are gonna stack up pretty high as we add more cards. And I will say, I don't normally do this with gloves on, unless I know I'm opening something that's going to be valuable. But I figured it was better safe than sorry, because there's a lot of like pretty neat reprints. So I figured that we should probably do it this way. So it does make it a little bit harder for me to handle some of the cards, but that's okay. Okay, well, so far we've gotten a lot of really, really good multicolor cards that we're going to use, and a few notable reprints that are neat. So let's keep going. Next up, we have active one, let go. Blam T-Rexasaur, or T-Rexar. So it is a 6 mana, 6/6 dinosaur. Come on, focus on the card. Trample. When it enters, gain 3 life, 4 cycling. Okay, so it's the 4 cycling version of those. It was cool. Dragoon's Wyvern. When it enters, make a 1/1 hero. Okay, 3 mana, 2/1 with flying, make a hero. Kind of interesting. Galacat. 3 mana, 1/3 flying vigilance. As long as you control 2 or more artifacts, gets +2/+0. Okay, so this is neat. Turns into a 3/3 if you have like mana rocks or something. Cool. Another Suplex, another Namazu Trader, another Parish's Wardings, another Adventurer's Airship. Vaughn, Aspiring Sky Pirate. This is Captain Lennery Storm, which is the, let's see, 3 mana, 2/2 red creature. Haste, when it attacks, create a treasure token. When you sacrifice treasure, gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Very cool. Love the art. Let's see if we can get a good close-up. Realize I had a little bit close to the camera. I don't know how used Vaughn is. Or I guess Captain Lennery Storm. I'll set that one to the side to sleeve it, but I don't know. I don't know how popular that card is. Could be very popular, could not be very popular. Who knows? Another Chocobo Racetrack. We already saw this one. I do think it's cute though. I like that it has a black Chocobo on it too. From the Raise a Chocobo quest. Another Quistis. Another Ash. Summoner's Grimoire. Okay, so that is... They're a shaman, so it's the summoner archetype. When it attacks, you may put a creature from your hand onto the battlefield. If that card is an enchantment, it enters tapped and attacking. So this is very good. This is very good. So this allows you to put sagas into play, attacking, if they're saga creatures, and it just lets you put a regular creature into play in general. So that's, you know, any way to cheat creatures into play is very good. So this is one of the rares. A foil red Mage's Rapier, which we've already seen. Still cool though. Insomnia, which is the Orzhov land. Looks cool. I think that is the town in Final Fantasy 15. Yeah, it's Final Fantasy 15. And Y'shtola. All right, this one we are excited about Y'shtola. We're gonna put her over here with her deck. And then the last of the first stack of cards. So we've gone through 10 packs. We still have quite a few to go through. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to do the arena ones later because this is already taking a lot of time. First card, Thunder Magic, another tiered spell. So we have red, deal 2 damage. So, which is kind of like Burst Lightning. And then we can pay 4 to do 4 damage, or we can pay 7 to do 8 damage. So this might be comparable to Burst Lightning, because I think hang on, I need to look this up. One sec. Okay, never mind. This is just a bad Burst Lightning. So it's not, well, okay, I say bad. It's not terrible, but the thing about Thunder Magic is Burst Lightning does kind of the same thing, but also hits players. Thunder Magic only hits creatures. Now, there are some decks that might use this. I think it's a, you know, it's a versatile burn spell, because if you need to kill something bigger, it's like bigger removal. And I have had times where in standard, I have not had enough damage in mono red to kill something. So it's possible that you might sideboard some of these. I think these could be useful, but like this is like late game removal where somebody has like an expensive creature in play that is very, very hard to kill, and you just have no other way of getting rid of it in mono red. So maybe you'll use this, but like burst lightning is what you'll go to first. But it does have lightning is her name from Final Fantasy 13. So that's cool. Undercity Dire Rat. Rat Tails. 2 mana, 2/2. When it dies, create a charge token. Yep. Very basic. Very cool. Blitzball Shot. 2 mana. +3/+3 and trample until end of turn. Cool. Combat Tutorial. Pay 3. Target player draws 2 cards. Put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 creature you control. Okay. That's, you know, 3 mana for 2 cards and also a counter. In the tightest deck, that's probably good, which is probably why it's, you know, Final Fantasy X. But personally, there's a few decks I might use this in, but I kind of want something that also gets a benefit from the +1/+1 counter as well. Otherwise, I'd rather just have a thing that draws more cards or does other things. Magitech Infantry. So 1 mana robot soldier, 1/1. As long as you have 1 other artifact, it gets +1/+0. Search your library for a card named Magitech Infantry, put it on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Okay, so in limited, this could be interesting, but it's basically 3 mana tutor for another 2/1, which is very expensive. I can see this in draft maybe if you get a couple of these, but I would struggle to find a deck to put them in otherwise. In standard, at least. Commander, you're never going to do that because you can't have multiple of them, which is kind of a shame. I almost wish that you could run more than one of those, but they printed a lot of those recently. Loporrit Scout. So 3 mana, 3/2. When it enters, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Neat. So, kind of cool. Very pretty card. Vane's Treachery. So this is a, come on, camera, work with me here. 2 mana, kicker, sack an artifact or creature. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. If it was kicked, -6/-6 instead. Okay, that gets around regular kill restrictions. I am cool with sacking your artifact. And again, I fully expect some of these are reprints, and I just don't know that they are, and it's not actually calling out that they're reprints sometimes, so I could say like, oh, this seems okay, and it's actually a card that's already existed and is good. If that is the case, like, my apologies for my ignorance. I am still like getting used to Magic again, so I don't remember all of the cards. Dragoon's Lance. This is another one of the job select cards. Looks kind of cool. Okay, so this has the... So I guess this is the jump ability, and that must be what the knights are getting, because they're dragoons. So they have flying during your turn, and it's +1/+0 and a knight. Neat. Ultros, Obnoxious Octopus. From Final Fantasy VI, when you cast a non-creature spell, so it's a 2 mana, 2/1 non-creature spell. If at least 4 mana was spent to cast it, tap a creature an opponent controls and put a stun counter on it. Cast a non-creature spell. If at least 8 mana was spent to cast it, put 8 +1/+1 counters on Ultros. Okay. That could be interesting. So if you spend 8 mana on X spells, then that counts. So that could be very fun. Could be mean. Colosseum Behemoth. I almost said Colossal Behemoth. So it's a 7 mana 7/7 with trample. When it enters, choose one. Either destroy an artifact or enchantment or draw a card. Okay. Fine. Looks neat. Fine. Crystal Fragments. So it's a 1 mana. Equip creature gets +1/+1. Equip 1. And you can exile it and return it transformed. The transformed is Alexander. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to creatures you control this turn. And tap all creatures. So it's a saga that protects your creatures and then eventually lets you attack all out, which is kind of cool. I do like that. Ooh, we got the pretty version of the water crystal. That is definitely going in a sleeve. This is the other crystal I wanted because I need this for the Hope deck. This one is 2 blue. Blue spells cost 1 less, so it's a cost reducer. And then if an opponent would mill 1 or more cards, instead they mill that many cards plus 4. And you can pay 6, and each opponent mills cards equal to the number of cards in your hand. So if you use this and you have 1 card in hand, they mill 5 cards because it does the replacement effect. This is really good with Hope and Go-Go because each instance of the mill is a separate trigger. So if you gain 2 life and you copy that trigger 5 times, that means each opponent is going to mill 6 times 6 times. So that's 36 cards out of potentially, 10 mana. Yeah, like that's a lot, but that's 36 cards on 3 opponents. So potentially quite good. So we're definitely going to go ahead and sleeve that one now. As I do want to make sure that one is okay. Okay, cool. So that's 3 of the cards I really needed for my Hope deck. Which is nice. We also have Chocobo Kick, which is a 2 mana return a land you control to its hand for the kicker. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature an opponent controls. If it was kicked, it deals twice that much instead, and it's foil. Neat. Got the planes, and that same hero again, but this one has copy on the back. That is neat art. All right, so that's stack number 1. Just have 2 stacks to go through. We've already gotten quite a few good cards. Pin Reinforcements is our first card. We already seen that one. Fat Chocobo in all of his glory. We've already seen him, but we can admire him for a moment. Sages, Nihiliths, which we've already gotten. Weapons Vendor, who is cool. We already got him. Haste Magic, another one of those. Hektize, got another one of those. Adventurers Inn, this is the colorless town. Gain 2 life. Welcome, we have rooms for 200 gil a night. Would you like to stay and rest your body and mind? So in Final Fantasy 3, you would, I think you could do this in Final Fantasy 1 as well. Resting in an inn would heal you your HP and your MP to full. So you would, you could use that to fully heal after grinding or doing some kind of quests or something. Auron's Inspiration. So this is one of the... you can see Auron in the back there. I know that character. Now is the time to choose. Now is the time to shape your stories. Your fate is in your hand. Attacking creatures get +2/+0 until end of turn for 3 mana and flashback of 4. Neat. This is a like a mini finisher in white. Not super good, but not super bad. Travel the Overworld. Affinity for towns. So this is 5 blue. Draw 4 cards. Okay, so it's, it's neat. Cool. It'll get used in some decks, probably. I'll behead Salvagers. When this creature or another creature you control, another creature or artifact you control dies. Target opponent loses 1 and you gain 1. Okay, so this is cool. I read about this. So I think this is one of the first instances that the first one I've seen where it specifically calls out an artifact dying. Normally, it would say artifacts being put in the graveyard. In this case, it says die because it makes more sense contextually for creatures. So this is one of several effects that do stuff like this. Blood Artist is another one that does this, but this is the one that works off of artifacts too, which is nice. So that is very good. Zidane. Ooh, we got the fancy Zidane too. Wow. I don't know if he's any good, but he does look cool. So this is an example of the one of the other prints they have of these. So unfortunately, the coloring of the lighting is such that you can't really tell, and it's going to auto-correct it. Let me see if I can, hang on. Let me see if I change the color of the lighting, if that affects anything. It kind of does a little bit. So you can't really tell from the lighting that much because it's like auto-correcting, but it is green. That's kind of cool. So we'll put that one to the side to sleeve. Choco, Seeker of Paradise. Hey, this is one that I was kind of interested in building a deck around. See if we can show it off. So this is the bird, 3-mana bird. It is the Chocobo Lord. Well, I guess it's not really a Lord, but it's the commander that people are building the Chocobo deck around. If one or more birds attack, look at that many cards from the top of your library. You may put one of them into your hand, put a number of land cards from among them onto the battlefield, and then the rest in your graveyard. So this is really good with Chocobos because Chocobos get +1/+0 whenever a land comes into play. So if you have a bunch of, like, for example, Fabled Passage, if you have Evolving Wilds, if you have just any fetch lands, you get double dipping because you can then activate them as well. So good card. I'm gonna put this one to the side. Realm Sketching. Create a token that is a copy of target artifact, creature, or land for 4 mana. Pretty good. And it's foil, which is cute. We got a waste. I forgot you could get wastes in here, but the wastes are cool. Look at that. And our art card is... oh god, I should know this guy's name. I just saw a picture of him. Golbez, Crystal Collector. That's right. Neat. One second, let me take a sip of water. Sorry, I have dinner planned, so I had to make sure that I was paying attention to the time. All right, so open yet another pack. Quirrell, it's a new one. Pay 2 for a 2/2, and you can pay 2 to tap a non-enchantment creature. Get it to focus on the art. Kind of neat. Non-enchantment creature, so it can't tap sagas. Call the Mountain Chocobo. 4 mana, search your library for a mountain, put it into play. Or no, put it in your hand, then shuffle. And it makes a green Chocobo. And has flashback. Okay, so... kind of strange. Bounces a mountain to your hand, so that's, you know, interesting. Or sends a mountain to your hand from your library, so fetches. Utra Beforier. Or rare? 3 mana, 3/2. When it enters, either destroy a creature that was dealt damage or exile up to 2 cards from the same graveyard. Okay, so some minor graveyard hate or kill something that took damage. Okay, that's fine. Commune with Beavers. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Reveal an artifact, creature, or land from among them. Put it in your hand. Okay. Cool. Neat, I guess. Ice Flan. So when it enters, so it's a 6 mana. 6 mana ooze for 5/4. Oh, this is the island cycling card. Okay, so when it enters, stun something, tap it, and stun it. Okay, neat. Syncopate. So this is counter target spell unless they pay X. If it was countered, exile it instead of putting it into a graveyard. Okay, so an X counter spell. Neat. Vincent's Limit Break. Ah, Vincent. Okay. 2 mana, tiered. Until end of turn, target creature you control gains when this creature dies, returns to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control, and has the chosen base power and toughness of... So 2 mana for a 3/2, 3 mana for a 5/2, or 5 mana for a 7/2. That's kind of cool. I could see that having an interesting place in a few decks to kind of sneak something in. And it's also a protection card because it lets it die and return to the battlefield. So you still get the death effect, but you also get to keep the card, which is neat. Cloud of Darkness. So 2 black, green. It is an avatar, 3/3, flying. When it enters, target creature an opponent controls gets -X/-X, where X is the number of permanents in your graveyard. Okay, so this is a good Golgari card. I don't think you'd build a commander deck with this as the commander, but it could be a cool, like, budget Golgari commander. Because, you know, like, it entering and then removing something could be helpful. This will probably, once again, this is probably one of the 99. It's neat. It's cool removal, but you probably don't want to run this as the commander. Stolen Uniform. Blue. Choose target creature you control and target equipment. Gain control of that equipment until end of turn. Attach to the chosen creature. When you lose control of that equipment this turn, if it's attached to a creature you control, unattach it. Okay, so this could be pretty cool. I like the idea of taking someone else's equipment, although the thing is, this is the type of card that is really good in the right pod. So if you know that you have somebody who runs a lot of potential equipment, this could be good. This could be a good answer to Greaves, for example, Lightning Greaves or Swiftfoot Boots, because you can take control of their boots, which is cool. So, and for 1 mana, that's actually not bad. That means that it's equipment cheating, and it doesn't necessarily have to be an opponent's equipment. So this is just pay 1 mana to equip anything, basically. So pretty cool, actually. Rydia's Return. So 5 mana, either +3/+3 until end of turn, or return up to 2 permanent graveyard cards from your graveyard to your hand. Or sorry, return 2 permanents from graveyard to your hand instead of permanent graveyard cards. That doesn't make sense. The art's very pretty. You like that. Side quest, card collection. From Final Fantasy XIV. So 4 mana, when it enters, draw 3 cards, then discard 2. Beginning of your end step, if 8 or more cards are in your graveyard, transform. So it turns into a 4/4 magicked card, which is a 4/4 flying vehicle that you can crew for 1. Neat. Sarah Farron. 1 green white, 2/2. The first legendary creature spell you cast each turn costs 2 less to cast. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control 2 or more other legendaries, transform. Crystallized Sarah. Okay, so this must be a Final Fantasy 13 thing. Yeah, Final Fantasy 13. The first legendary creature you cast each turn costs 2 less to cast. Legendary creatures will get +2/+2. Okay, cool. So this could be a cool commander, actually, because this would be a neat green-white legendary deck, because you get sort of ramp from cost reduction of the first legendary you cast each turn, and if you have a bunch of legendaries, it turns into an enchantment, which is usually harder to remove, and it buffs all your legends, which is nice. And you still get the reduction, too. Cool. A foil Blazing Bomb. Looks neat. The Azorius Town. It's cool. And this looks like... Is this the person we already got? Sorceress's Schemes. Okay, so this might be her, but as her, like, spell card. So, that's cool. Okay. I really want to get to the collector booster, but I don't know if we're going to get to it. So, or if we do, we might have to take a break for dinner and then do it later. So Town Greeter, so we got another one of those. Ice Magic, one of those. Morgan Castle Guard, which you've already seen. Thunder Magic, which you've already seen. Fire Rat, seen. Iron Giant, that's new. It's a 7 mana 6/6 with Vigilance, Reach, and Trample. Neat. Colorless, so it can go in any deck. It's okay. Vincent's Limit Break, already got one of those. Thrum of the Vestige, so this is the Lightning Bolt reprint, and it looks very cool. We're going to set that one to the side. Auron's Inspiration, already got one of those. Travel the Overworld, also got one of those. Albed Salvagers, got that. Midgar, okay, so we got the Black Adventure Town, which is from Final Fantasy VII. So we can pay 3, sack an artifact or creature to draw 2 cards. Very cool. We got an Aerith, a foil Aerith. Ooh, very pretty. 3 mana lifelink. When you gain life, put +1/+1 counter on her. If she dies, X +1/+1 counters on each legendary creature you control, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on Aerith. That would be cool in the deck that we just saw, or the commander we just saw, Sarah Farron. That could be neat. A deck based on legendary creatures. Under the Mountain. Looks cool. And we got just the Red Mage hero. And a treasure. Neat. We're making progress now, because we've seen probably about half of the commons and uncommons. So we're starting to cut through those a little bit. Although there are quite a few cards, so we have a few left. So first card in the next pack is Summon Chocomog, which you've already seen. Item Shopkeep, which we've also seen. Malboro, seen. Bard's Bow. Rook Turret, which we've already seen as well. Iron Giant, we just saw that one. World Map. Pay 1 to search for... pay 1 sack, search for a basic land, reveal. Pay 3 sack, search for a land and reveal. Okay. Interesting. So this searches for a land to hand, but you can pay more to get a non-basic land. So that could be very useful. If that's a reprint, then I'm not surprised. Eden, Seat of the Sanctum. This is another one of the colorless towns. You can pay 5, mill 2 cards, then you may sacrifice this land. When you do, return a permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, so ways to get things out of the graveyard. I like this because this is usable in any deck. I will probably end up slotting this into a lot of decks because like late game when you have 5 mana to spare, if you have nothing else to use it on, this could actually be useful. Because it means in a deck that you might not otherwise have any kind of graveyard recursion, you have at least something to get something out of the graveyard, which is nice. Lock Coal. 3 mana, blue-black. Death Touch lifelink 2/3. When it deals combat damage to player, draw a card, discard card. Yep. Pretty normal. Regular rogue stuff. Oops, put the Aerith in the multicolor pile. I meant to put that in the white pile. Summon Anima. 4 black, Pain. Draw a card, lose a life for 3 turns. And then on the 4th turn, each opponent sacrifices a creature of their choice and loses 3 life. Okay, that's cool. And it's a 4/4 with Menace. So pretty cool. Might bait some removal, as people don't like to sacrifice their creatures. But I like the idea that you're basically paying 6 mana to get 3 uses of Phyrexian Arena, one of which happens immediately. And then you also get some like soft removal. You can't choose what they get rid of, but if they only have 1 creature, then they have to pick that one. So kind of cool. I do like him. Gratia, which I think is the commander in, or one of the other cards in the, is it the revival deck? No, because this is from 14. So, oh, this is the other 14 commander. So 5 mana, 3/5 reach. The Alagan Eye. Whenever one or more creatures and or artifacts you control die, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. Okay, so when things die, draw cards. Hi, Kiski. Oh, Jumbo Cactuar. So I got wrecked by a Jumbo Cactuar last night when I was testing my arena scene. And oh, thank you for the follow, Glypho Magi. Welcome. Please remain in containment. So I got wrecked by a Jumbo Cactuar deck because what they did was, I don't even remember what they did, but they used something that caused one of their creatures to be a copy of the Jumbo Cactuar from their graveyard. And they just snuck a Jumbo Cactuar that was flying over all of my defenders and hit me for 10,000. Hi, Rika. Okay, so neat Archer. It'll get put in some decks again. This is a card that'll go in the 99. Probably won't be a commander. The Earth Crystal. This is one of the other really good crystals. Surprise, surprise, most of the crystals are good. So 4 mana, green spells are 1 less. If we can get to focus on it. This one is a counter doubler. So if something would get a +1/+1 counter, instead it gets double them. And then you can pay 6 and put 2 +1/+1 counters on up to 2 targets. Now, notably, that means you're putting 4 counters because it doubles it from its own ability. We're going to set that one to the side because that's also very good. Cloudbound Moogle. Already seen one, but it's foil. Question for you. Who is the Black Praetorian from New Phyrexia? That would be Sheoldred. Sheoldred was the Black Praetorian. Or the Praetor, I guess is what it would be. And she has several cards, all of which, well, okay, almost all of which are very expensive. Charge Through is the popular card combo. Yeah, Charge Through Cactuar is kind of scary. So next card is Gungaga Reactor Town, which is the Gruul town. Neat. And it looks like we got another one of the Chakram. This one isn't the gold sign one like we had for the others. A Ferret. Okay, there we go. So yeah, this is a thing that happens sometimes. I've gonna wait a sec for it to reconnect. Are we okay? Okay, I think we're fine. Hello. There we go. I think. Quality kind of dipped for a little bit, but we're okay. All right, let's keep going before we completely disconnect. All right. Blitzball Shot. We got another one of these. Combat Tutorial. Already seen that. Bench of Infantry. Got another one of those. Warrior Sword. Okay, so this is the Warrior. +3/+2 in addition to its other types. And equip 5. So a 4 mana 4/3. 4 mana 4/3. And then you can equip it to something else. Cool, I guess. Kind of basic. Resentful Revelation. Okay, so this is one of the Final Fantasy VII story cards. So 2 mana, look at the top 3 cards, put 1 into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Flashback 7. Okay, so kind of neat. I like the art on it. That's Sephiroth there. Got another world map. Hill Gigas. This is the mountain cycling creature. 6 mana, 5/4, trample and haste. Galuf's Final Act. Until end of turn, so 2 mana, instant, until end of turn. Creature gets +1/+0 and gains. When this creature dies, put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to its power on up to 1 target creature. That is potentially really good. That could be very good. Especially with the Earthstone. Prompto Argentum. I did see this guy. He's from Final Fantasy 15. So 2 mana, 2/2 haste. When you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 4 mana was spent to cast it, create a treasure token. There's a lot of, if cast for 4 mana or more, do stuff. There might be an interesting deck to build doing this. So I might be interested in trying that out. Capital City. This is a cycling town, and you can pay 1 to get 1 mana of any color, which is neat, or you just taps for colorless, which is cool. Sin, Spear's Punishment. So I think this is in the Final Fantasy X deck. If not, it's cool to have an extra copy. Well, if it is, it's cool to have an extra copy. If not, then it's cool to put in that deck. Oh, wait, no, this can't go in the Final Fantasy X deck because this is Muldrotha colors. So when it enters or attacks, exile a permanent card from your graveyard at random, then create a tapped token that's a copy of that card. If the exile card is a land, repeat this process. So this is really cool because if you get a bunch of lands, you could just keep doing that over and over again and get all of your lands. Get a bunch of landfall triggers. So could be a cool card. Esper Origins. So it's a 2 mana sorcery. Survey 2, gain 2. If the spell was cast from a graveyard, exile it and put it on the battlefield transformed with a finality counter and flashback of 4. So basically, survey, gain some life, neat. And then we get to flip it, and it turns into Esper Maduin. Almost thought that said Manduin. 4/4. Reveal the top card. If it's a permanent, put it into your hand. Add 2 mana. Other creatures get +2/+2 and gain trample. Okay, so this is kind of a finisher, but it's a finisher that people will see a mile away. Because, you know, you have to wait until it gets to the 3rd tier for it to actually do its overrun effect. But could be good. Foil Iron Giant. Got the Plains. And this is the Dragoon hero, I think. Also a robot on the back. Okay. Aerith's Rescue Mission, Aerith's Rescue Mission, which you already got. Light of Judgment, already got one of those. Sephiroth's Intervention, got one of those. Gigantoad, got one of those. Summoner's Sanctum, got one of those. Gilgigas, just pulled one. Grand Pulse Ochu. So green 1/1, Death Touch. Until end of turn, this creature... so 8 mana until end of turn, this creature gets +1/+1 for each permanent in your graveyard. Okay, that's kind of interesting. Ooh, Cecil Harvey. This is the Tin of the Weaver. So black, white, human cleric. At the beginning of each of your post-combat main phases, you may pay X life, where X is the number of opponents who are dealt combat damage this turn if you do draw X cards. Partner. Very cool. So this is the Final Fantasy IV. I think this is like one of the bosses. Very cool though. I do love that. Let's set that to the side. So Gallus Final Act, got that. Prompto, got him. Capital City, got that. Ralbon, Bowl of Ala Migo. Pay life equal to Ralbon's power for ward. That's pretty good. 2 mana, 2/2. When it attacks, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to target attacking creature. Neat. Once again, good for the 99. You probably aren't going to put this in the commander slot, but could be good in several decks. Grahati, but foil. Swamp, but foil. Actually, this is the other swamp, which is very cool. Bird, the Chocobo, who is also a wizard. I love the wizards. And you straighten my back. I'm like leaning over this table. I don't really have a good camera clamp for this, so it's just kind of sitting on the side of the table, which means that I kind of have to lean over it a little bit. Chocobo Kick. We already seen one of these. Dreams of Laguna. 2 mana, survey 1, draw a card. Flashback 3. Okay. Or flashback 4, rather. 3 in blue. The art. Cool. Neat. Paladin Arms, we got one of those. Sabo Tender, so we got another one of the cacti. 2 mana, 2/1, reach. When a land enters, deals 1 damage to each opponent. Cool. Cornered by Black Mages. I was hoping to get one of these, at least one. So this is one of the spells that makes Black Mages. Target opponent sacrifices a creature of their choice for 1 black, and you make a 0/1 wizard. This also triggers other wizards because it's a non-creature spell, so you can just start pinging people, which is cool. Another Crossroads. Endwalker, which is the Brainstorm reprint. Very cool. Look at that. Gorgeous. I love these reprints. Now, I will say, I know this is not for everybody because the text can be a little hard to read for some people because it doesn't have the like backing that it normally has. But as a card, I do love how this looks. I do really like how this looks. I think it looks really cool. Put that one to the side. Another Omega. This one is not the full art that we got, but it is cool. Tifa's Limit Break. So we did not get one of these yet, I don't think. So Tifa's Limit Break is green, instant. So Somersault, +2/+2. Meteor Strike. So for 3 mana, double target creature's power and toughness. And then for 7, 8 mana, triple target creature's power and toughness until end of turn. So very cool. This could be a fun finisher with the Tifa deck. Because I do want to build like a standard Tifa deck using the potential one-hit punch of Tifa's Limit Break. Conberry. I've seen this guy. This creature enters with a stun counter on him. He's 1 mana, 2/1. During your turn, this creature has first strike and death touch. So he's got a little knife. Garland, Knight of Cornelia. I, Garland, will knock you all down. When you cast a non-creature spell, survey 1, and then you can return it transformed, and it comes to be Chaos, the Endless, flying. See, when it dies, put it on the bottom of its owner's library. Unfortunately, that's pretty terrible. Even as you die again and again, I shall return. Pretty cool. Unfortunately, that makes it a terrible commander, because he will just get bodied. Very cool creature. Like, looks really cool. Seems really interesting. However, very unfortunate that, he doesn't really, like, he's a 5/5. So if he is your commander, like, if he dies, he just goes to the command zone, because, you know, you don't have to shuffle him back in. But, I don't know. I probably won't use him all that often. Squall. Ooh, okay. Hello, Squall. We got the special Squall, too. So, 4 mana, white-black, Squall Seed Mercenary. My man has one of the coolest weapons in the game. I know a lot of people like the Buster Sword. My first, like, major interaction with Final Fantasy weapons that weren't just, like, standard weapons was seeing Squall in Kingdom Hearts and seeing the Gunblade, and the Gunblade was, like, the coolest thing to small child me. When a creature you control attacks alone, it gains double strike. When it deals combat damage to a player, return target permanent card with mana value 3 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. This is really cool. I kind of want to build a deck around this, because this seems like it could be really fun. Kind of like a Bushido deck, but around Orzhov colors, which might be neat. That one to the side. Coral Sword. Flash when it enters, attached to a creature. They gain first strike, +1/+0. Neat. I love the foiling on that. The foiling looks really cool. So this is the Simic Guado Solemn Farplane Gateway, which is the Simic town. And then we got another Black Mage hero, looks like, and a Chocobo. Not a half bad graveyard deck. Yeah, Squall with Ashnod's Altar could potentially be pretty good. I like the idea of Squall as a commander because I like graveyard recursion decks. I think that they're fun. I like the idea of using my graveyard as a source of damage. You're Not Alone, we already got one of those. Blazing Bomb, got one of those. Fight On, we already got one of those, but again, cool. Special Greens, got that. Magic Dampener, got that. Sahagin, got that. Monk's Fist, this is the Monk job select item. +1/+0 and Monk, in addition to its other types. Okay, well, I think it's the cheapest of the job select cards, so not too bad. Crystal's Chosen. 7 mana, create 4 1/1 colorless heroes. Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Okay, so this is kind of cool. It works well if you're building the deck with the... So if you're building a Selesnya deck, this could be really good, because if you're running the green crystal and you have any other way of like doubling tokens, that could be kind of cool. So that could be fun. Ilmeg Pixie. 2 mana, 2/1 flying. When it attacks, survey 1. Cool. Neat art. Fenrir. Okay, so this one was one I was kind of hoping to get to. So it's a 3 mana, search for a basic land, enters the battlefield tapped, which is cool. It's a 3/2, one of the new sagas. When you cast a creature spell this turn, that creature enters with an additional +1/+1 counter, so that's cool. And then draw a card if you control the creature with the greatest power or tied for the greatest power. So several just generically good green effects on a saga that is also a creature. So kind of cool. Overkill, got another one of these. The Regalia, it is the car from Final Fantasy 15. And as I saw with the revelation of some of the rule updates for the Edge of Eternity's deck, set, you can actually run this as your commander soon, as this will be a legendary artifact. Or a legendary artifact vehicle specifically. So it's a 4 mana, 4/4 with haste. When it attacks, reveal cards from the top of your library into reveal land, put it on the battlefield tapped, and the rest on the bottom in a random order. This is really good. This will probably be put in a couple of my decks because it's just good ramp. If you have a way of getting it out early and crewing it, you could just keep getting lands every turn. Doesn't matter if it connects, it just needs to swing, and it happens as soon as it comes into play. So if I have anything that I can pay 1 mana for, or that I can crew it for 1 with, then it will activate. Very cool card. Huge fan. Foil Emperor of Palamecia. So 2 mana. This is it colors? It's foil. Tap for red or blue. Spend it only to cast a non-creature spell. When you cast non-creatures, if at least 4 mana was spent, put a +1/+1 counter, and then transform if it has 3 +1/+1 counters on it. And it turns into the Lord Master of Hell, which is going to have a really hard time focusing on because of the foiling. Whenever the Lord Master of Hell attacks, it deals X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of non-creature, non-land cards in your graveyard. This is hilarious. That's what they called me in middle school. Ah, yes. As one does. I want to build a deck around this guy, kind of, because this is... So I think this is a running theme of 4 mana or more spells. So this might be fun. Could be cool. Got the forest, and then our land card is... Or not land, our art card is Kefka. This is the full art Kefka. Neat. All right, I think we're going to open 2 more packs, and we'll have to take a break because we do have dinner plans in about 30-ish minutes. We have to leave, so... I don't want to start opening another pile of cards, and we're going to have to come back to them anyway. But before we go, we will show off the secret lair cards that we did open from earlier. Commune with Beavers. What a card. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Reveal an artifact, creature, or land. Put one in your hand, the rest on the bottom. Guy Speak Beaver. Neat. Ice Flan, already seen him. Pearl, already seen that one. Call the Mountain Chocobo, seen that one. Utrub, Fourier, already seen that. Monk's Fist, got one of those. Got this Ochu. Crystal's Chosen, got another one of those. Got the Pixie. Got another Fenrir, neat. Stiltskin, Moogle Merchant. So it is a 1-mana 1/2 with lifelink. Kefka-esque, if you will. Yeah. Yeah, Kefka is definitely a philosophical type of villain. So Moogle Merchant, tap, target opponent gains control of another target permanent you control. If they do, you draw a card. This can potentially be really obnoxious because there's some cards that you can give people that you don't want, and they definitely don't want. That's kind of cool. Ancient Adamantoise. So this is a card that I kind of wanted because it seems like it'd be really funny. Oh, Kefka's my favorite Final Fantasy villain, and I don't know very much about Final Fantasy. That's how important Kefka is to, like, writing. It's the one time where I can definitely say that a villain won, and we had to fix it. So Ancient Adamantoise is an 8-mana 8/20 Vigilance Ward 3. Damage isn't removed from this creature during cleanup. All damage that would be dealt to you and other permanents you control is dealt to this creature instead. When it dies, exile it and create 10 tapped treasure tokens. This is fascinating and already has some cool things that you can do with it. Because, for example, damage is not removed from it during cleanup, but if you regenerate it, damage is removed. If it's indestructible, damage doesn't do anything to it. Kefka is the joke of a bunch of anime teenagers have to go fight God. It's so true. Especially because, like, at first he just seems like he's annoying more than anything. I like the Adamantoise. Got a foil Bard's Bow. Already seen this one, but God, that one is not going to work in... Oh, there we go. Okay, so we can kind of show it off foiled. Treno, which is the Demir City, enters tapped. And then another Summoner with a treasure. And this will be the last pack that we will open for now. All right. So let's see what we got. We got Gaelicat. Already got one of those. Ifrit. Got one of those. Arimen. Got that. Rexar. Got that. Dragon's Wyvern. Got that. Cloudbound Moogle. Got one of those. Magic Pot. Got that. Zidane. Got the special one of you and a normal one of you. Sorceress of Schemes. This is the one that we got the art for. This is a 4-mana. Return target instant or sorcery from your graveyard or exiled card with flashback you own to your hand. Add red. Interesting. And flashback 4. This lets you fetch flashback cards. So you can actually go and get a flashback card that you've used to cast it again. And since it returns it to your hand, you'd be able to cast it normally and then flash it back again. This is really cool. I like this card. Sleep Magic. Basically just putting something to sleep, and if it ever takes damage, it gets removed. Neat. Side quest, Hunt the Mark. So for 5 mana, when this enchantment enters, destroy up to 1 target creature. Beginning of your end step, if a creature died under an opponent's control this turn, create a treasure token. If you control 3 or more treasures, transform this enchantment. So for 5 mana, you blow something up, and you get a treasure on the turn that this comes out. You can get Vampire the Masquerade mortal character for, to your stream. Oh, thank you. We are going to take a break in a bit to go eat dinner, but we may continue when we get back, depending upon if I have time. As I do still want to open like the rest of the stuff that I have here, because I have several commander decks that I want to at least take the like collector preview card thing out, and a collector boost server that I would like to open. What does this turn into? This turns into Yizmat Ultimate Mark. So this is a 5/6 dragon. Sacrifice another creature or artifact. Pay 2, gains indestructible into turn, tap it. Okay, so it turns into a big fuck-off creature that's hard to get rid of. I do like that. Very pretty looking card, too. Astrologian's Planisphere. So I underrated this card. I thought that this card was going to be okay, but then I actually read the card a little better. And yeah, it turns out, so it's 2 mana, creates a hero, attaches, makes a wizard. When you cast a non-creature spell, and whenever you draw your 3rd card each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. So it's anytime you cast a non-creature spell or draw a 3rd card. So if you cast a non-creature spell that also draws you 3 cards, or draws you 2 cards, doesn't have to draw you 3 cards because you've already drawn a card on your turn, this gets 2 counters, and it just keeps getting counters. I like this card. I will probably use this in a deck for sure. Blazing Bomb. A foil version of the Golgari land. And another hero. All right, so that's all of those. We got a couple of really good cards. We'll show off the ones that we have sleeved, and I'll just go ahead and sleeve these other ones that I sat off to the side. So we will admire some of these cards. I will say that while I'm not extremely familiar with Final Fantasy, so far, the vibes of so many of these cards make me want to play Final Fantasy. Just because it's, you know, it just looks cool. It's like a visual aesthetic that I have taken for some of my D&D stuff. And I just, you know, I think it looks cool. Got a lot of cool stuff going for it. Magitech is always interesting. All right, so we still have, keeping in mind, we still have 10 more packs to open that are regular packs. And then we have 4 collectors, 4 of the collectors preview packs, as each commander deck, I believe, comes with a collector preview. Collector sample, sorry. So we have the Barnabas card, which is the reprint of Karm. We have Go-Go, which I'm excited about. We have Vanadiel, which is the reprint of Laboratory Maniac. Hope, which is the one that I wanted to build a deck around, which is cool. Zidane, we got the special print of Zidane. Not the foil one, but it is still cool. We got the full art special version of the Water Crystal, which is very pretty. Big fan. We got an Ultima, also very pretty. Shadowbringers, which is the Dovin's Veto reprint. The full art Omega, which we probably won't use for a deck, but looks kind of cool. The Wind Crystal, which we will be using in the Hope deck. The Chocobo Commander, which we will potentially build a Chocobo deck with. Thrum of the Vestige, which is the Lightning Bolt reprint. The Earth Crystal, which we will also use in another deck. This might actually go into the Titus deck, because this could be very good in Titus. Cecil Harvey, which is the Theme of the Weaver reprint. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful, like classic style. That is the Yoshitaka Amano art, who has a very iconic Final Fantasy art style. Endwalker, which is Brainstorm. Looks very pretty. And of course, Squall. The special Squall. And I will show the other cards that I have. Like I said earlier, I did open one of the secret layers to make sure that the cards were actually in it before I was on stream. And I had already actually sent off one of the cards because there was a story behind it. If you're interested, it'll be in the VOD. But short version is someone didn't get the Grimoire set, and they really, really wanted the VV Lightning Bolt. And while I like the concept of VV and I do like Lightning Bolt, I don't necessarily need the VV one. But it meant a lot to them, so I thought it would be nice to just give it to them. So I hope that they enjoy it. But we did get a couple of cards that we can show off. So we have Noctis's Death Magic, which is the Damn reprint. Looks very cool. Damn, that's good. But Tish. Which just destroy a creature, and you can overload it for 4 black to destroy all creatures. We have Yuna, Holy Magic, which is Prismatic Ending, which is white X, exile target non-land permanent if its mana value is less than or equal to the number of colors of mana spent to cast this spell. So up to Wooburg. You can get up to a 5 mana. Hope's Arrow Magic, which is Cyclonic Rift, which is mainly the one that I was excited about for this, because, you know, Cyclonic Rift is just always good. Return target non-land permanent you don't control its owner's hand, or overload to get rid of all non-land permanents that you don't control. Aerith's Kiraga, which is Heroic Intervention, also another card that I can never have enough of. Permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible at end of turn for 2 mana. And the bonus card was Porum's Silas Magic, which is Silence for 1 white, which is opponents can't cast spells this turn. Pretty good. One of the things you can do with this is you can cast it on someone else's turn at the start of their turn, and then they can't cast anything. So if it's at the end of the game, this turns into a you can't do anything this turn unless you can do it at instant speed. Or if you're doing it on your turn, you can do it as a you're not allowed to interrupt me this turn. So like get it out of the way now. Which is cool. Okay, so I am going to sleeve these real quick. But we are going to put a stop on this for now. We will potentially consider doing some more of this. I don't know if it'll be tonight. It may not. If not, then we will continue sometime either tomorrow or later this coming week. But I definitely want to open the rest of these. I have 10 more regular play boosters to open. I have the 4 commander decks that each have a collector sample in them that I would like to open. And then we also have, as I showed at the beginning of the stream, we also do have 1 single regular commander booster, or not commander, collector booster, which I also really, really want to, I do want to crack open, but I'm going to hold off on cracking open because I want to open the other stuff first. Also, thank you for the follow. Thank you. Please remain in containment. It is for your safety. All right, so we have quite a few things. So of the art cards, I will say there were quite a few like really cool art cards. I will show these off before we end here. But I did really like getting the Kefka art card. It does look cool. If we can get it to focus on him and his happy little face. Oh, look at him before he turned into an evil god, he was an evil jester. We do have the Chakram, Dancer's Chakram, which we have the gold sign version of this as well. We have this, which was that really cool flashback spell, which was Sorceress's Schemes, the cool spell. We got Golbez. I don't know if we can get it to zoom in. His art is really cool, but it's also not playing nicely with the camera. There we go. There's our signed version of the Chakram. It was neat. We did get Graha. We got the special version of him. We got Vivi. We got our boy. Look at him. He's beautiful. And of course, the one that we were very excited about, we got Y'shtola. The art card for Y'shtola, at least, which is very cool. If we pull the actual like full art version of Y'shtola like this, that would be really cool. I'm not gonna hold my breath though, because that is kind of rare. All right, let me move over to my other station away from the camera. So thank you all for joining me. We will continue doing these polls later. I do have some other stuff I want to pull. And we also still have Arena. I do have, I think, because I bought I had pre-purchased the set pack for Final Fantasy. So I do have, I think it's like 50 packs or something, and I have a couple of packs I can open as well from the quests that I've already done, because I've done some dailies, but I've been out of town, so I haven't actually done a ton of stuff with it. So I think I have like 3 cards that I've obtained from the set just because of the mastery quest. So everything that I open will be largely new. I don't know if we're going to open them the same way with these. I don't think we need to open them individually because we know what a lot of the commons and uncommons are. So we'll probably just open them for the rares. Chances are good we'll just open the pack and then flip everything and then look at just the rare, because that'll be the main thing we care about. And then we might build some decks on Arena and maybe play some Arena. So we'll see. It's something that I've been thinking about doing once I finish Oblivion, because we are pretty close to finishing Oblivion. I would like to have like a rotating game that I can just play in my free time. The thing about Arena is that it's the type of game that I'm happy to play for like 2 or 3 hours. So if I just have some spare time on a night, I don't mind doing a bonus stream of Arena, or maybe planning like an extra stream every once in a while of Arena. Also because, like, you know, I just like playing Magic. I do enjoy Magic, so I think it'd be fun to spend some time playing Magic here and there. But yeah, other than that, this has been my Magic pack opening. So what game mode do I play in Arena? So I see if I could get Y'shtola to be on top there, but it's kind of hard to. There we go. Don't take that out of context. Hi, Mia. What game mode do I play in Arena? I play Standard mostly. I don't mind playing Historic or Alchemy. But I mostly play Standard. I also really like playing Limited. The thing is, chill out. I tend to try not to like, I'll pay money for like the pre-purchase packs and like the mastery stuff if I know I'm gonna play. But I try not to pay money to play events unless I am really, really interested in doing them. So I do have some gems and I have some gold, so we might be able to do a couple of events. I'm not going to enter, as much as it's tempting, I'm not going to enter the collector's booster event thing that's like pay 8,000 crystals, which I think is like $40 worth of crystals. And it's like, if you win, I think it's 7 or 8 matches, you get a collector's booster box. You eventually challenging me. Okay. Well, if you want to challenge me, I do tend to play Standard. I have several Standard decks. I've mostly been playing variations of like Red Deck Wins or mid-range Black, but I do have a couple of more like funny casual decks. I really want to build a casual Standard Rakdos Wizard deck that's like a Rakdos Spellslinger. That seems like it would be really funny to me. I've already kind of like thought about one, but we'll see. I would potentially be down to play if and when I find the time to. But cool. So yeah, we will continue opening these another time. I'll send out messaging to relevant social medias whenever we do that. Hopefully I will give a little bit of warning. If we do it tonight, then, you know, if you miss it, the VOD will be up on YouTube. And if I get anything in particular interesting, maybe I'll make a short about it. Who knows? But until then, this has been Deck